Good evening, race fans, and welcome to round one of this first ever MC Motorsport V8 Series. Tonight we find ourselves for the first time ever in the Gen 3 Supercars and kicking the season off at one of Australia's most picturesque and challenging tracks. It is, of course, Phillip Island, and along with that comes amazing views as the drivers make their way around this very, very tricky and technical circuit, taking on things such as the infamous Lukey Heights, of course, as part of it, which I'm looking forward to. I hate that with a passion. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jared Cole, and on behalf of Simple Racing Broadcast, it is an absolute pleasure to welcome you back to the channel as we kick off a brand new season of racing here with MC Motorsports. The driver's just getting into qualifying now, and so we'll join them in just a moment. But I'm, of course, joined in the commentary booth once again by my trusted co-commentator, Dean Biggles Hopton. Mr. Hopton, how are you, my friend?
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Sir. Yes, I'm excited to be back in the booth with you here for the MC Motorsports, and more excited, mate, to throw some V8 cars around all the fantastic tracks we'll be visiting this year.
And it's going to be an absolute cracker. The calendar this year full of Australian tracks and street circuits. I can't wait to get through it. But we're starting here at Phillip Island, and I think it's probably worth calling out the biggest field that MC Motorsports has ever had in any of its league events so far. So much so, we've had to split this into a two-split series this evening. So we've got some massive racing going on. We're, of course, covering the gold split here tonight. We will be bringing the silver split later in the week, so can't wait to get that sorted. And we're joined, of course, in the chat by those watching at home. Sarge Motorsports here to support the Fishy Motorsport crew. And I'll call that out right now. Some of the names we've attracted for this first season, I'll tell you what, Biggles, there's a few in there that I recognise, not just by team, but by name. It's going to be a really, really interesting one to see some of the top drivers battle it out in these Gen 3s.
Yeah, you were talking about that in the agreement, actually, how amazed at how many top guns, some of the biggest and quickest, fastest drivers in all planet Earth, of course, and the Aussies, bringing the Thunder from down under into the Aussie Supercar Series is going to be outstanding. As you mentioned, we've got about 30, give or take, probably about 28 just in the gold race that's occurring right now, will be occurring tonight. And then you mentioned the silver as well, too, that we're going to be looking at covering. We need to clone you there, Jared, so because you can't be at two places.
Just got to double it up. Just got to double it up. That's what we've got to do. Biggles, without much more ado, we'll get in and we'll check out some of the qualifying, but check out the weather conditions for this evening. The wind is blowing an absolute gale here, and that's going to play havoc with these drivers. 40 to 45 k/h winds forecast right through both races tonight. Their first race, a 17-lap, 75-kilometre intro to Phillip Island, and then we followed up with race 2 shortly after, 34 laps, 150 kilometres, with a reverse top 10 grid from race 1. It's going to prove very, very interesting indeed.
I was just looking at the radar. It doesn't actually have the wind direction. I'd be interested to see that, the iRacing radar that they provide, but no rain in there. But I'm saying 27 miles per hour, as you mentioned there, 45 kilometers per hour. Depending if you get a nice headwind on there, or if it's a tailwind going into the braking corner, then yeah, these cars are pretty heavy. So granted, if it was open wheel, it would affect a little bit more. But still, I'd like to know if there are any drivers out there that are having to manage to pop in there and have a little bit of a chat there in the YouTube channel and say, yeah, guys, it's blowing a gale out there.
Absolutely. Look, without harping on too much about that, we've got about 10 minutes left of qualifying, so let's go down and check it out, see how some of these drivers are doing. And of course, it is an open qualifying session, 15 minutes here for drivers to set their best possible time, and plenty to play for. We've got a few names out on track at the moment that some of you will recognise from around the place, but the ones to watch for me this season, Biggles, Ty Delaney and Ben Faulkner. Ty Delaney from Fishy Motorsport's well known in the V8 scene in Australia as one of the quickest out there, and Ben Faulkner no slouch either. We see Ty Delaney out on another lap at the moment. He's currently holding the P1 spot with a 132.8 ahead of Ben Faulkner's 132.9. So far, the only two drivers to crack into the 32s, but it promises to be a very, very impressive bit of racing here tonight as we see the drivers making their way around.
Yes, 6 minutes down currently of our 15-minute qualifying session, and if you're doing a 132 lap times, which is the target to beat that the Tile has set, then you'll get a few of them up your sleeve. That's big names, big speed, and 132 club for both of those gladiators is certainly the benchmark. As you can see, the fish there, or the eaten fish already for the Parramatta. Ute that's written on the side there. Is that Isuzu?
It is always
Azuki?
well supported by
Isuzu.
Isuzu,
Yeah.
the
Isuzu.
Fishies team. And we've got the Pertec livery out on track. That, of course, one of the ADHD boys. They had their own little reveal earlier on in the year. I think it was actually end of last year that they decided to bring on their new liveries that they had made up. Another of the Fishies entries tonight, David Kirby. So look for him to be pretty quick, although he hasn't quite managed the 32s. He's not far outside it at the moment. I tell you what, the gap is minimal, really. When you look at the top contenders for fastest lap right now, you've got to go all the way back to 17th before you actually find yourself a second off Ty Delaney's hot lap. So very, very tight racing up front of the field. It's going to be an absolutely spectacular evening, I reckon.
Well, I tell you what, Jared, I always do this to you, to pick a driver and ride shotgun with, and I know how much you love this track. It's a roller coaster ride. Get it all wrong, too. Jump over the catch fence, and you're straight in the dip. And that's, of course, the ocean down here in Phillip Island. But you go ahead there, Jared, see if you can pick somebody to ride on board with and give us a hot lap.
Look, it's a tough call, isn't it? I think David Coleman is just out, so let's jump on board and check it out. Turn 1, a long, sweeping and fast right-hander. Then, of course, we hit the southern loop. Now, this is a really, really... it's a tricky corner. It is a double apex, although it doesn't look like it. You absolutely have to hit it as a twin apex to get the exit right. And then, of course, we hammer down into Stoner Corner, and then hard on the brakes. Turn 4 is Miller Corner. And this is where it can all go wrong very, very quickly. It's a very slow corner, down to only about 70 or 80 kilometres an hour as the drivers get through that. Then hard on the throttle again to try and build some speed before you get into Siberia. And I reckon with the breeze that's going tonight, it absolutely must feel like Siberia if you're watching from up on the fence. It'll be right there. Again, hard on the throttle as we go up through turns 7 and 8. And here, of course, we start to get into the infamous Lukey Heights. Now, up and over this crest is absolutely one of the toughest braking zones that I've found myself trying to get familiar with. The line that you've got to take through here is just so dicey, even a little bit offline there, and you get into some very, very slippery surface. And then, of course, straight back on it again through 11 and 12, and we are back onto the home straight. Phillip Island, of course, famous for motorbike racing more than anything else. But
yeah, exactly.
Supercars, they're here to make a mess of it if they can.
Well, we're talking about that before too in the green room. If you actually, this track doesn't really have many straights. Just the main straight itself. The rest of it's all just curved, like a Fuji kind of thing. One of those motorbike race tracks, as David just saw before, is up P18 for the Fishy. A lot of Fishy Motorsports entries here at the moment, but you could see it was fighting with the wheel as well. I saw that, Jared. So a little understeer, oversteer, try to get it all set up there and get that cranker, a banker of a lap in.
While we've been watching that one, of course, Ben Faulkner jumping up to P1, a 132.6, what he was able to pull out of the bag there, and looking absolutely fantastic in the Vermilion Motorsports entry there, Vermilion Esports rather. We've got a bunch of well-known teams. If you're not familiar with some of these names out there, Fishy Motorsports, as I said earlier, one of the best known, I would say, in the Aussie racing scene when it comes to supercars. So they've joined us. We've got Antic Motorsports back with us again, the ADHD boys out there, of course. Team Jinx Shifters has inherited a couple. And the crowd favourite, Cram, is back with us, back for Danny P. Hot off the press, Danny P has actually signed on, would you believe? He's no longer Vibe Gang.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah, he's jumped
currently
on board.
P4 at the moment. So Danny P's doing a solid job there. Hasn't cracked into the 32 club, but I tell you what, he's 33 flat on the dial. And he's also joined by Aidan Kale. That's also 133 flat on top of that. How's that for spicing and dicing around Phillip Island, mate?
Not bad at all. Now, the Antic Motorsports, I believe the terms of the contract for Danny P were that his car had to be purple, just quietly. We do know he loves his purple cars. We saw him in the GT3 Championship looking resplendent. And you know what? Doesn't scrub up too bad in the Antic Motorsports livery either.
Yeah, I quite. We've got a lot of liveries to go through as well, too. About 28. I believe we have a few people on race control on this one. And not to mention, once again, we still have a ton of drivers driving right now in the silver class, which would be interesting to see how their times would pan out compared to the gold class. It sounds like you're going to a picture theatre or you're traveling on a plane, isn't it? Gold class or silver class. I think they're all A class to me, my friend, to throw these cars around Phillip Island.
Oh, not wrong. And look, honestly, when it came to the splits, I was having a chat to the league admins over the last week or so. We've had a few qualifying sessions to get these drivers all split into the various categories, and there is so little between the bottom of gold and the top of silver. We're talking mere seconds across the entire field. It's going to be a very, very competitive season, and I can't wait to see it. Ty Delaney so close to stealing that P1 spot away, 7,000th of a second off Ben Faulkner's run. So he's absolutely making a move on that where he can. Let's see if we can get on board with him here for another hot lap and see what he's got up the sleeve.
There he is. We can see if he's holding the ace cards or not. I wouldn't want to play poker with this man because he does not bluff when he throws that car around. Out there, Ollie's going for the Joshes. The Joshes, that sounds like a law firm, the Josh and Josh. That's Josh Bernard, Josh McCauley, and the FCR Sim Sports, and also Aidan Williams. Big shout out there for Aidan Williams, who currently, where is Aidan Williams? I was looking through this list of so many people down. He's the other FCR, I guess you're the FCR Sim Sports that you're going for at the moment. There, Ollie, thank you for that. We'll keep an eye peeled on them.
Worth calling out as well, David Kirby, the other fishy entry, making it into the 32s there, brings him up to P3. But Danny P and Aidan Cale both are 133 flat.
Yeah, that's what I said, 133 flat. Just can't crack that 32 club, but hey, I'll
so
take
close.
It any day of the week. I mean, you're starting in the third row. Around anything can happen. You were kind of warning me at the moment too, weren't you, there in the green room, Jared? You were saying, well, this could be a bit tricky for some of these drivers, especially because have they dusted all the cobwebs out of the closet, mate, in the off-season?
Well, it's a good question because there's been a good couple of weeks off between seasons. I know everyone's been putting in plenty of practice laps to try and get their heads around the Gen 3s, but Phillip Island as a track on its own without trying to learn a new car, it's a really tough first circuit for us to be covering here tonight, and I think it's going to sort out really quickly those who have put the time in and those who have just hoped that they could transfer some skills across from the
Christmas
Gen2s,
pudding, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, not wrong.
Get back in.
Not wrong.
Oh, I don't fit in the cockpit anymore of my racing rigs. Why is that? Too much Christmas pudding. I don't know. We'll
Certainly
see.
something I've had to deal with over the last couple of weeks, I tell you that much. But yeah, look, I've been trying to put some laps in here so I could get my head around what these drivers are facing, and yeah, it is a really, really tough circuit to put a Gen 3 around, and certainly with that 40k an hour wind playing absolute havoc with the cars on track, it'd be very interesting to see. We'll see if we can pull that up actually. Do we have a wind direction here? There you go. So
We
it's,
don't. Do you have a wind direction?
I've got it up now. About what, 230 degrees thereabouts. So that's
How do we work that out?
southwester. That's a southwester.
Southwest.
Doesn't help me with which way the wind's coming across the track, but that'd be pretty much down the. It's almost pushing people down the main straight. So very interesting wind direction.
A little snap of an oversteer you saw there from David as he's heading into pit road. That's the exit just before the final turn. You'll see that short little, almost like a car park entrance. And they'll all be parking it right now, my friend, because the qualifying session is done and dusted for the first time this year for the MC Motorsports.
And just like that, we go to the grid. Ben Faulkner, Ty Delaney, nothing in it, but both of those guys taking the front row. David Kirby and Danny P right behind them, with Aidan Cale and Aaron Gilbert just behind that. Jamie Dyke, another fast entry in with Damon McDonald. Then Kenny Economus and Reese Wakefield rounding out the top 10. Thomas Wilson and Jackson Austin in 11th and 12th just behind them. As we look further down, Luke Newing and Josh Benno are both in there. Josh McLaughlin and Jeremy Washington. He's changed it over. He's no longer Private Ear Racing. It's now Laughing Stock Car Racing. So good to see him moving teams there in the break. Robbie Bradbury and Dean Powell alongside each other, with Nicholas Garriosh and Alex Court rounding out the 20. Brad Cooper from Antic alongside Troy Maguire from Fishy, ahead of Henry King and David Coleman further back in the field. Then, of course, Aidan Williams. Mitch Curry finds himself in 26th, just ahead of Josh Harris from ADHD, the only ADHD entry in the gold split, unfortunately for him. Orlando Black, 28th. Then Dylan Thomas and Billy J. Sinclair, with Nathan Bowman rounding out 31st spot. So a big field for our first race here this evening. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty keen to see this get underway and see what these drivers can deliver here this evening.
And remember our format, we will have a heat race first, and then we'll have a bit of a flipperoo for our feature there on
Reverse top 10, that is
top
right.
10. So that's one to look out for here in the 70 to 27 mile per hour winds.
Yeah,
so I'm working in the US for that.
US format.
I know we're
44 kilometres an hour, my friend. 44 kilometres an hour. As we get ready to go, the drivers lining it up. We've got Ben Faulkner, of course, up front already with Ty Delaney. We just wait now, of course, on the starters' orders.
Imagine the nerves, mate. Start of the race, of the season. Over to you, Jared.
Revs rise. We are underway. Round 1 of the MCV8 Series. And we are away. Ben Faulkner and Ty Delaney getting off the line cleanly. Hopefully we'll see the rest of the grid follow them through as we head on down to turn 1 for the very first time this season. The Gen3 Supercars at full noise. Phillip Island. Just 17 laps here, so not a lot of time for these guys to sort themselves out and gain those all too precious points in race 1. And Ben Faulkner early trying to establish a lead. So far so good, the pack very, very clean. Haven't seen any dramas just yet, but that could be the commentator's curse getting ready to come
no,
play.
there was.
You never know.
Troy Maguire from the Fishy Motorsports 163 machine went off into the kitty litter early, but so far it's the only driver, which is quite amazing. Unfortunately, Dan the man bogged down big time at the race start there. He's on P9 at the moment, 5 positions down.
Having a look at these guys trying to fit through Miller Corner. Just going through that too wide, that is a big ask. Huge ask to try and get these through alongside each other. You really got to get sorted out into your racing line early. As Ty Delaney is just sitting back, letting Ben Faulkner take the lead here, see what he can deliver here.
Brad Cooper's come together, I believe. Maybe I can't remember specifically, but that's going to push him back down to P30 at the moment. He gets back up in the speed there as Troy Maguire probably back on his tailpipe soon, but there it is at the moment. Still Ben in the lead there from Tyle, from David Kirby, and Aidan Kale is up to P4 now.
So we come around lap 1, reasonably clean, all things considered, and plenty going on right throughout the field. Have a look at the gaps though. As you look back through the field, there is not a lot separating. Those top 20 all very, very close together still. Really nothing in it at all at this stage, and some very, very quick laps right off the start. But there's nothing separating all these drivers. You can see the amount of kitty litter getting kicked up there from that earlier off-track excursion. And I tell you what, I still love that about this latest iRacing season update. Being able to see that debris kicking up is just it's a whole other thing to add, isn't it?
Some of it, Jared, some of it, on some of the tracks, it looks like glitter all over the place too, as every little tiny pixel of light reflects off into it, but that's just a matter of little tweakings of settings that you need to do. Don't turn it down, really. It could be a little bit too high. Top 4, starting to make a little bit of a breakaway from Damon McDonald in P5 now, who's got a gaggle of cars behind him like a hornet's nest on lap 2 here of our first heat. And
look, a few movers in amongst Damon McDonald and Kenny Kromos for the gap that's opening there. Both of those guys up 3 positions from where they started. Jamie Dyke, keep an eye on him. We know he's very quick. He's back in P7 at the moment, but he'll be looking to make a move, I'm sure, in no time at all. Come up and over Lukey Heights once again. Jacob O'Reilly on the money in the chat. Ty Delaney is no slouch. He knows it's not all about lap 1. He'll hang in there, and absolutely, Ben Faulkner, we know he's got pace in just about anything with 4 wheels, a motor and a steering wheel. So it's going to be a very, very hard one to put a move on. The really interesting thing will be how these guys fare in the reverse top 10. I think we're in for some very, very interesting racing. If Ben or Ty end up taking this out, watching them carve their way through that first 10 races is going to be, it's going to be something to watch. That's for sure. Yeah,
whilst they battle each other, they'll also be trying to get OTs as much as possible. Aiden trying to get on the back there of David Kirby and the Fishy Motorsports entry, who started in P3, isn't P3, the 307 machine, who's still keeping them at bay. Ben just set the fastest lap in the last lap, the 133.61, obviously a little bit slower and heavier fuel load than was during the qualifying session, but he will start to go quicker. He'll want to start to go quicker because Tyle is sizing him up there. So Fishy Motorsports 2 and 3, Ben in the lead.
Holding in there for the moment, but not much in it at all. We take a little bit of a look further back. This is Jamie Dyke just floating around, keeping an eye on the sideways esports entry, and of course the early esports entry just ahead of him we'll try and feature as many people as we can here tonight. It's not a long race, but plenty going on. We'll try and just pick up where everyone is and get a good look at the cars, because there's so much to check out. It's not just about, of course, what's going on up front. And Ben and Ty will be just, look, probably sussing each other out a little bit here, I reckon, as they look to make their way around once again. Take a look a little further back, though. The Pertec entry, Josh Harris, finding himself up into 22nd now, so he's up 5 spots. And one of the other big movers, Aiden Williams, just ahead, actually up 6 spots since the start. So despite not necessarily being up front right now, these guys are looking to make moves where they're available, and it is a tough track to try and actually make any passes on.
Yeah, Phillip Island is very difficult because, once again, it comes back to the fact that it's more of a motorbike track, and you'd be doing different overtaking places in MotoGP as compared to V8 Supercars. And Tyle's been sizing them. I've been just kind of keeping an eye on that front three while you have to go through a whole bunch of a grid. You can see Chico roll over there as well, too, from one of the drivers.
I love a Chico roll.
Yeah, I had one actually, believe it or not, earlier today, but it just seems they're all bunching up difficult. Tyler's been sizing up Ben, and he gets a little bit quicker out of some of the sectors. I think more so sector 3 he gets a little bit more pace on, but then just can't get enough of the exit on any of the overtaking opportunities, especially in the final corner, to do anything about Ben. He's just basically going to size him up and force Ben into a mistake. I'll tell you what, as far as what I heard, Ben doesn't make mistakes very often.
No, it's pretty rare, but the thing to watch as we take a look up front once again, the Ty Delaney actually has teammate David Kirby with him up there as well, so he's got a bit of support. Aidan Cale in the Vermilion Esports entry just behind them. Happy to just tack on for a little while, but he'll be probably chatting to Ben, and these guys having a bit of a chat about strategy at this point. But plenty to play for still. We're only 4 laps in, about to head on to lap 5 now. So far so good, all clean. Let's take a little bit of a look further back. Danny P.
Yeah, you might get an overtake done here right now.
Of Aaron
After he bogged down off the race start, couldn't quite get it engaged in the gear enough, too much wheel spin, and had dropped these 5 places. Now he's trying to make it up on the back there. He's got the Team Jinx shifters there of Aaron Gilbert to try to get past. But once again, it's very, very difficult, and he's probably the closest man on track right now to give us one of our first overtaking opportunities of the season here at MC Motorsport.
Yeah, there's been a little bit going on here and there, but this is the first that we're really seeing. And Phillip Island, it's a tough track to get a pass done on. There's very, very few opportunities really into turn 1.
Might be one up the road there. There it is, Kenny and Damon. And Damon goes around. No, he saves it. Good job there for the 59 machine, but he's going to be under massive pressure right now. He's got to stick to the middle of the track and make it as wide as possible, because they're all going to try to get around him here. He's got to get on the loud pedal there, get all that stinky. It didn't really go around, so he should be fine. But here he is side by side with Gilbert.
Pushing Aaron Gilbert to the outside of the corner. Just a little bit of panel rubbing there, and there's going to be plenty of it as these guys try and make a passing opportunity happen anywhere around Phillip Island. And Danny P, of course, still hugging the back. Here we go, up and over Lukey Heights once again. Gilbert looking to the inside to protect that corner as best he can. He knows that Danny P is on a run and looking to make his way through. Damon McDonald, though, holding it together. The Sideways Esports entry is always looking good from every angle. But further back in the field, we've got to keep an eye on just a few cars back from here. There's a real run of cars following these guys through. So we've got Danny P, who's been looking at that, but right behind him, you've got Jackson Austin, then Reese Wakefield behind him, Thomas Wilson there as well. The battle here for P8 is pretty full on. There's a lot of cars involved, and we'll try and actually give you a bit of a picture of this. The battle for 7th right now, Damon McDonald just managing to hold off all of these drivers, all within just about a second behind.
Yeah, after that little bit of a moment, it kind of rebunched him up there for a fact, but nobody could really greatly seize that opportunity. He was very lucky just to drop a couple of places and bring it back in there. He definitely found out where Grandpa hides the cookies from Grandma, and kept that one right where
Bobby
he needed
Bradbury's
to be. Ben
had an issue. He's run wide there. So coming through Miller, it's not surprising to see someone go off there. We'll go back and we'll take a quick look at that and see if we can pick up just what happened. I think he's just he's gone to defend the line against Josh Harris. Has there been contact, or has he just left it too late to get the braking done?
I'd say you'll
Oh,
see
there's a bit of contact there.
Yeah, there's a little bit of contact there.
Contact there from Harris.
And Mitch
And
Curry,
then a big
meanwhile,
nudge.
also
Big nudge from behind.
That's a little door banging, my friend, and says, okay, move out of the way. Both drivers just caught an error. I tell you what, there's a bit of kitty litter kicked up on the track at the moment. Mitch Curry's gone off, and he's kicking up kitty litter everywhere for the super cheap auto number 51, the boss man. So you might want to go back and see if you've got a little pictures on that one. He's come back on track. I think he was challenging side by side one of those drivers earlier, and then was involved in that one. I don't know if you want to keep your contract. Mitch Curry, if you go back and have a look at him.
Absolutely. But, and Jacob O'Reilly in the chat, absolutely on the money. The tyres around Phillip Island, you're chewing through around about 3% of your tyre life per lap here. Phillip Island absolutely destroys tyres. So these guys will be starting to really get into the difficult part of tyre life where you've got to decide, well, that's a big late braking attempt, and it's just too much for Curry to pull it up. He's managed to keep it reasonably clean, though, thankfully.
Yeah, he did, but all that kitty litter's kicked up on the track now. It'll take a couple laps to get rid of that. Aiden Cal cannot find a way past David Kirby, who's in that P3 position. Aiden is up one gain, and that's because we did see Daniel did struggle a little bit off the line there. That's why he's currently running 5 positions down.
Have a look at kitty litter.
Look at that kitty litter, mate. Yeah, that's exactly what all came up on the track before. It's all kicking off the back of those tyres, which, as mentioned out there in the chat, take a punishment around here. So that's even more of a punishment.
Now have a look at Ben Faulkner. He's starting to open up that gap just a little over Ty Delaney, and both of these guys pulling away from Kirby. I think Kirby's starting to feel that tyre degradation maybe a little more than the others at this stage. Faulkner and Delaney, of course, both very, very smooth application of the throttle and wheel movements. Absolutely key for these guys to keep this sort of pace going, but pretty consistently lapping in the 34s now we're seeing. So already you're seeing the impact of that tyre degradation just starting to bring those lap times back. These guys will have to think about whether they're going to try and make them last to the end or what the case will be. It's worth calling out, of course, that there has been a limit placed on the fuel levels here as well. If memory serves, it's about 81 laps is the most that we're letting people put into the tank. So pit stops will definitely come into play in race 2. Race 1.
81 kilograms, I mean, you're thinking not laps.
No, sorry, 81 litres. Sorry, you're
litres,
right.
sorry, I was going to say, yeah, you don't get it 81
Josh
laps.
McLaughlin,
Like,
sorry, Josh McLaughlin has gone around.
See that?
The FCR Sports entry, heavy under brakes into Miller.
Might have got tagged here. No, he's just lost on the chicane.
No, he's actually got a little bit of a rear end tag from that sideways esports entry going.
Yeah, got a push from somebody who went up onto the chicane, lost the traction, and then it gave a little bit of a nudge off the track there as a racing incident. Aiden really putting the pressure right now on David. I'll tell you what, Ty's starting to slowly, well, he's making sure that Ben's not getting up the road too far, so that's going to keep that. But they've now dropped. 2/10
now.
They've now dropped the other two by 2 seconds. Yep, there it is. So that's the big two-way / another two-way fight for the podium and a fight for the race lead here on 7 of 17. Just over halfway through our first heat race. I'll tell you what, it is heating up. It's a little chilly, but I'll tell you what, it's heating up here in Phillip Island.
Always does, and these guys making a real show of it for a first race of the season, if this is what we're to expect for the rest. I don't know about you, Biggles, but I'm pretty excited to see what these guys bring to the table. There is a long way to go, of course, in this race, and we've got a whole second race ahead of us, but the pace that we're seeing out of these cars right from the get-go, absolutely insane. Not seen.
I think we need some push to passes, don't we? Like, you go, okay, guys, you can do a few push to passes per lap there and get a few more little kilowatts of power there, but it will chew through your gasoline.
And
so
look, I mean,
you can sit there and just hold that button all race long if you want, mate, but then you're only going to do, what, 3 laps before you have to go down to get a splash and dash, so that'd be interesting.
Look, they're not exactly light on fuel, but the thing is they've got plenty of power to overpower the tyres as it is. You don't even need the push to pass to just fry them. So we take a look as they come down Lukey Heights again. That gravel already starting to really clear on the racing line. So a nice bit of grip back for them. They can start to just pick the pace up a little bit. Alex Court's had an issue as well. We'll go back and catch that if we can. Let's see what's happened here.
Is
Not
that
sure.
it's
What's,
main straightaway into turn?
Now we're back live with Faulkner and Delaney here. I'm not quite sure what's happened here, but we'll go back and check it out. Here we go. Alex Court, Quantum Motorsports entry.
He's already losing it there in the marbles.
Yeah, just
and around she goes.
Around Southern Loop, you get the power down too early, and the rear end will just slowly but surely come around. And once you're offline there, a lot of marbles, you're off camber, and that's what you end up with, unfortunately. For Alex Court, finds himself back in at 29th, now down 9 spots after that. Keep an eye on Kenny Economos up to 5th. He's up 4 now from his starting position as Faulkner and Delaney continue to make their way around. The battle's starting to heat up just behind them, though, as these 4 all look to contest that 3rd step if they stay on track from here through. And we're starting to get a few little battle packs going on.
Yeah, the front 2 are still battling 3rd and 4th. Aiden's still struggling a little bit. He's going off the racing line, trying to throw a couple of dummies over there to David Kirby, the Fishy Motorsports entry up the road from him, but it's not working off. David Kirby's seen that writing on the wall, but I tell you what, it's all Aiden can do at this point because he's not finding the gap, and David Kirby's not allowing it. In fact, anything, it's bringing now Kenny in the number 50 machine and P5 into play. So that little 2-way race is turning into a 3-way race, and they're teammates too. But once again, they don't work together too much because, hey, you got to get past David Kirby first in order to perhaps use your teammate as a blocker.
Absolutely. So they've got this battle going on for P3. You see Faulkner and Delaney both turning in 34.5s there, so continuing to extend the gap. Take a look back, though, at the battle for P7. Look at this train coming down the main straight behind them. 6 cars all in amongst it, being led out at the moment by Damon McDonald in the Sideways Esports entry. And then you've got Aaron Gilbert behind him, Danny Pease in amongst Jackson Austin, Reese Wakefield, Thomas Wilson, all in with a shot. And this is what we like to see, just absolute trains of cars going on. And then right behind them...
Yes. Sorry to cut you off. Kenny's got past Aiden. There's been maybe some team orders or something, but he has passed him. And Kenny's been released. And he's up 5 positions again now for the 50 machine. So they're definitely teammates there. Aiden was in the back there of David. And I think it may be a team orders a play. Just gone, look. Aiden's like, I can't get him at this point. Kenny, you give it a shot, mate. We're running out of time on this one with about 4 laps to go. But I think that might have been a left or a mistake.
And see what we can see. Oh, there it is.
Oh, no, he's made a mistake.
Big loose moment there.
Oh, there goes all my shenanigans of trying to organise that, saying it was team orders. Mate, it was just a mistake.
You'd love to see some team orders, wouldn't you? You'd like to see them, but they're few and far between, honestly. No, just that Southern Loop.
Now they're going to be like, Biggles doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just a crock. Anyway, what we do have is Ty. Certainly not letting Ben go. He's got hook, line, and sinker on the back of that number 2 machine, and he's been seeing the back bumper of Ben's car for some time right now. When is he going to look at seizing his opportunity to try to get this one? Remember, it is the heat race. Doesn't necessarily need to win it, but wouldn't you like to win it? The first race of the MC Motorsport season here for the Gen 3 Supercars?
I mean, it's a big psychological event. Have a look at the slide as they come out of Southern Loop. These guys are both pushing those tyres to the limit, and I think that's going to be the really challenging part for Delaney here, is trying to find anywhere that he's going to be quicker than Faulkner through the corner. The only way he's going to get this done is with a dive under brakes at this stage, and it's either that or it's a mistake from Faulkner. These guys very, very evenly matched, both pushing the cars to the absolute limit. It's really just a question of how much more the tyres can take over the next 5 laps or thereabouts to see who comes out on top.
You might see it in the last couple of laps here. I don't think the drivers want to risk it too much just yet because, you know, if you do, well, they haven't got flat spots yet in iRacing. I don't encourage them. We'll program that in. You will go into the kitty litter. You'll scrub a lot of time. You can practically just say goodbye to that P1, or obviously by both ways. Tyler saying goodbye to it if he makes a mistake. Ben saying goodbye to it if he makes a mistake. But wait till the next couple of laps, then, when you might send a little bit of a dummy in, mate, because, you know, push comes to shove, it might be worth it. We shall see. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Passes are hard to come by here. You're up.
Yeah, 100%. Faulkner's extending it again out to 4/10. Delaney starts to track him down the straight, just taking advantage of the little bit of aero that he can get there. But I haven't seen him in a position at this stage where he's really even able to think about putting a move on, or even just showing the nose. As he finds himself going very wide, Delaney, a mistake there has put him wide on Southern Loop, and that's going to cost him some time. Now out to just over half a second. Is this all that Faulkner needs to break the deadlock? If he can just
perhaps, yeah.
Away.
Aiden Cole still, he's putting pressure back on Kenny. Those two teammates that we thought was, well, I thought was the teammates, which isn't. And so they're on the back there of David Kirby. He's doing a great job. They're holding him all at bay, and he's just solidly holding on to that P3. Yeah, well, we also thought about Ed, and Senna couldn't get the job done years ago, couldn't he? And then all of a sudden he comes out of nowhere and pushes an overtake, so anything is possible.
Absolutely. Hey, looking a long way back further through the field, Robbie Bradbury and Josh Harris still going at it back here. So that Pertec livery not buying any favours for the ADHD entry. And really only a couple of tenths separating him here. Racing up and down the pack right throughout is very, very close. As we look ahead to Garriosh in the Frog Leap Juiced entry, getting a little bit of attention from Henry King in the Jinx Shifters, Wilson's Industrials Sales Mustang, just behind, looking for the line through, not finding it that time, but certainly looking threatening there as well. As we see Faulkner starting to really extend out in front. Have a look at that timing tower. He's out to almost a second now over Delaney. That might have been just enough. As we see, look at this.
Yeah,
Ramos and Kale
yeah.
going at it. David Kirby saying, thank you very much. You just keep chatting amongst yourselves. I'll be quite happy out here in front if you could just give me some room.
Billy J. Sinclair, unfortunately for the Subway 777 machine, had a little bit of a moment. Now, he is running last place, so he can afford to make those mistakes, but not too much, because very, very soon the likes of Ben Ty and David will be catching him. With 3 laps to go, I don't know. There is a possibility. I'll tell you what, that lap traffic coming into play could be everything that Tyler needs right now to try to steal this race win away from Ben.
It's a big ask, though. I mean, it's only a 17-lap race. We're on lap 14 now, so just a few to go. Faulkner's quick, but I don't know that it's going to be enough for him to actually lap right around. Take a look at this battle continuing for P7, though. 6 drivers all still right in amongst it. Reese Wakefield doing his very, very best, not only to take Jackson Austin, but to hold off Thomas Wilson in behind him. So 3 of these guys going at it for P10. Come down, Luke. It's a big look up the inside from Wilson. Very, very lucky to avoid contact there. But these guys looking for any opportunity to pass. And I tell you what, there's not a lot of them. Oh, and there he goes. Wakefield pushing it just a little too hard out of that exit. That's going to cost him the spot. It's on me.
Yeah, you started mentioning Reese Wakefield, which I thank you. Good to see Reese Wakefield back again. I love Reese out there in the motorsport and a racing car there for the 969 machine. And yes, Jared, that's your first commentator's curse done for the year. Season. More to come. Yep.
There we go. More to come, I'm sure. Absolutely. Kirby had his break. Both of the Million Esports entries have decided it's time to start putting the pressure back on him. And the gap now closing up just a couple of tenths. Kirby doing everything he can to keep that Fishy Motorsports entry on track. You can see he's going a little defensive there into Miller Corner. Just not giving these guys room to even think about heading up the inside, but it is costing him in terms of his speed.
Damon goes around. Well. Daniel, DP, Daniel, the man, Damon. So it's not the law firm, the Damon and Daniel. It is the drivers. And so, yeah, that really forced his way around there. That's the battle a little bit further back. The hot zone you mentioned, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. And still.
It's all over the place. A big pass back here. Josh Benno's had some issues, and he's getting passed by a couple now as Jeremy Washington makes his way up and back there alongside. Oh, Washington goes very wide. He's pushed just a little bit hard trying to make the pass stick, and that's going to cost him, again, some meters. He's going to have to make that up as best he can. And Josh Benno just breathing a sigh of relief, I'm sure, as Washington has to have a crack all over again.
Yeah, Washington, a very familiar name. Of course, the MC Motorsports, won a lot of races, certainly very, very competitive. We don't know how he's going to go on the Supercars. Clearly, at the moment, this is his first race. Really indication overall the pace of what the drivers are doing.
Here comes Danny P into turn 1. Can he make it stick? He's got the inside line. Forces Damon McDonald wide, but he'll be back on the inside as they go into Southern Loop. Now, can Danny P find the traction that far out? to make this stick. He's going to go
he
sideways
won't.
in the marbles.
Danny.
Bit of contact, but they're holding it together. And they'll continue side by side. They head towards Stoner Corner. Danny P finds himself on the outside. Can he set up for an inside line, though, into Miller? Hard under brakes. He's going to force him wide.
Yep. You got to do a bit of door banging around here. It's the only way to get the overtakes, as we've seen. It's very, very difficult. And I'll tell you what, you don't want to yield any track position at all. And Daniel's certainly not doing that. He's making it very, very difficult. But, of course, you go out in those marbles, sometimes go defensive, and you can't get that power down. So he's well aware of it. And he's fighting for tooth and nail. He's gained some positions back, but it all went pearl-shaped for Dan off the start there, where he dropped 5 places.
Yeah, nobody would have liked Verstappen. He's making it back up as best he can. Now only 3 down from his starting spot, and a beautiful move to get ahead of Damon McDonald there. Just barely holding it together. Mitch Curry, the boss man himself.
As well. Don't do it to Mitch, mate.
He's had a big incident.
Don't do it to
and
me.
Again, it's just hard under brakes. Miller catching people out, as always.
Oh.
He's managed to save that.
He's got an excuse, all right? He's busy organising this fantastic league. It probably sacrifices all the extra practice time that Mitch gets to put in. So he's allowed a couple of spins every once in a while.
We'll go last lap now. And let's keep an eye on this battle for third, because it's all going to be on now. I think Faulkner at this stage probably has this wrapped up for race 1. Delaney just behind him now. David Kirby, can he make it? A fishy 2-3. A lot of pressure on him here from Connor Moss and Kale. Jamie Dyke hanging onto the back as well, another Fishy Motorsports entry. So looking like the battle all the way through this first 6. If we take a look, Vermilion Esports up front with Ben Faulkner, then Fishy, Vermilion, and Fishy. We see the kitty litter absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, the first 2 just went through it as well too, Ben and Ty. So they were gingerly through that too, mate. I think they realised it was there, and they said, look, this is the last lap of the heat race. They didn't get on the lap pedal. They've accepted they're going to be 1 and 2 on this one, which would be great in the reverse grid to see those 2 at it. But at the moment, still that P3 position's up for grabs. They're running out of track and time here on the last lap of Heat 1.
Absolutely they are, and we'll jump ahead in just a moment to see Ben Faulkner take his first checkered flag. We don't want to miss anything here, of course. The battle for P3. David Kirby's looking very solid, but here comes Ben Faulkner around the final turn. Hold my breath for just a moment while we make sure he makes it around there in one piece. And that'll be a win in race 1 for Ben Faulkner. Not far behind, Ty Delaney coming through in second. And David Kirby holds them off to take third here in race number 1. The MCV8 Series is underway. Thank you very much, Phillip Island, for a fantastic start. And we take a look further back. Thomas Wilson not quite getting the job done. As the field starts to space out a little further through, we see Aiden Williams. Williams actually making a lot of moves through. Comes up 6 spots ahead of his starting position. Finishes in 19th, so a brilliant run for him. Henry King up 8 spots into 15th, so a fantastic drive from the Jinx Shifters entry we see there on screen right now. Monte Cristo, a bit of a Washington fan, clearly.
Oh yeah, no, there was no puns out there to Washington. I love Jeremy Washington. It was like, I know that there's a lot of pace out of Jeremy Washington to come. That's what I was referring to at that one. He's probably got a lot on his plate, exactly. But
Ben Faulkner,
I'm certainly keeping my eye out for Jeremy Washington. He is, isn't he? Good on you, Ben. You got the job done. That's good feeling there. You got ahead of Tyle. We kind of had a little bit of an early prediction. It's going to be a Ben and Tyle show to get the victory between those 2 gladiators here this evening. Ben's got the round 1 on that one. I'm interested to see whether or not Tyle can take it away from him. Of course, in reverse grid and a hard-to-pass track will also be another interesting situation. One coming up soon.
Absolutely, it will. We were just waiting for the last of the results to come through as we just take in a bit of, look, honestly, what the Gen 3 supercars are built for, isn't it? Surely. A bit of burnout action.
Shane used to do what he does at NASCARs now too, mate. So yeah, burn them things around SVG. As Ben is currently doing it.
As we see the results from round 1, race number 1, Ben Faulkner taking the win over Ty Delaney there. Only a second and a half in it in the end, but Faulkner just perhaps maintaining the tyres a little better as a result. David Kirby and Kenny Economos, Aidan Cale, then Jamie Dyke, Danny P in 7th ahead of Dane McDonald with Aaron Gilbert and Jackson Austin. Now, the reverse will apply here. Jackson Austin taking pole, of course, in race number 2 this evening with the reverse top 10 grid. Ben Faulkner and Ty Delaney will be fighting back from 9th and 10th to try and get back ahead of the field and actually catch up and get back out in front. Thomas Wilson back in 11th ahead of Dean Power, Reese Wakefield, then Luke Newing and Henry King. Nicholas Garriosh in 16th ahead of Joshua Benno and Jeremy Washington rounding out the 18. So still on page 1 of the results there. Nothing to sneeze at all. As we take a look a little further back, Aidan Williams and David Coleman rounding out the 20 with Robbie Bradbury and Josh Harris, then Troy Maguire, Josh McLaughlin, Mitch Curry, that late crash costing him back to 25th, Dylan Thomas, Orlando Black and Nathan Bowman rounding out the results for race number 1.
And what an interesting race it was. Difficult, it seemed to be more than anything. Up here, it just looked like the drivers, well, it was difficult. It certainly felt it. I'm not a driver around here on the tracks, but it looks like these drivers had to put 100% concentration here for the first race. And we don't even know how bad those winds felt as well, too. So some of the drivers were struggling a little bit of oversteer and exit speed. And, of course, when you got a little bit of the kitty litter kicked up on the track, too, that it even made it more difficult. But those tyres will certainly start to fall off the cliff at the end of our first heat, which will be interesting going into this feature race. How long they're going to make these tyres last, mate, before they have to head on into pit road, if they want to head on into pit road.
Well, the man who can answer some of those questions, Ben Faulkner, our winner in Heat 1, joins us now. Ben, how are you, mate?
Good, boys. How are you?
Look, pretty impressed that you guys held it together. Such a clean race for the first one here in the MCV8 Series. Look, let's jump straight to it. How are the tyres at the end of that first sequence?
Yeah, I mean, they felt pretty good. I conserved them pretty well. The dock feels really nice. The temps, they're a bit steep on the track temp, but yeah, it held up pretty nice. I sort of held my own with Ty, trying to keep the pace. I think his tyres fell off a little bit towards the end, but yeah, it felt really good.
Yeah, nice to hear. And a really, really strong wind there out on track, something like 40, 45k an hour we were seeing right throughout that race. Have much of an impact on how you had to drive the car this evening?
Yeah, it was pretty difficult. I mean, every lap it was changing up and down like 5-6 degrees, so it was pretty scary. Sometimes it caught you out a little bit, but yeah, it made it definitely 100% difficult. It was I think similar to the official sessions, so I was sort of used to it. I did a couple of those, but yeah, it definitely made us catch out. Sometimes with the rear for sure, and a lot of understeer, especially through turn 1 and into Honda and T10 as well. So yeah.
Was it a headwind or a backwind? Just to elaborate everybody with that one, because
I think it was a tailwind into
right.
T1, but then into like turn 10 it was side on, so it was like pushing you away from the apex as you were going for it.
Rough.
So yeah, it was different every time, so I had to get used to it.
I don't envy you at all, Ben. Look, starting from P10, got some work to do. We will let you jump back into the car. You've got about a minute before I think we start gridding up for race number 2. But last thing before we let you go, any major strategies to get through from 10th up to 1st here? What are you planning for lap 1?
Well, I got a pretty good start in the last one, so I'm hoping to repeat that. But yeah, just stay out of drama. There's going to be some drama, I reckon. So just stay out of it and make the most of it, not try and kill my tyres too early. And see how I go when I need to come into the pits.
All right, Ben Faulkner, congratulations on your first win. We'll let you go and get ready for race number 2, and we'll keep an eye on your start from P10 in this one.
Thanks, boys.
Too easy. Ben Faulkner joining us, of course, the winner there for race 1 ahead of Ty Delaney. And yeah, that win certainly sounds like it was making life very difficult right around the track there, Biggles.
It was, yeah, we wanted to, and thank you very much for Ben for coming in there and give us a chin wagging about that, because we don't know. Just looked like it. Tyres. That was the key. I think that was mentioned. There's going to be tyre preservation. Who's good, who's kind of their tyres. Of course, at the same time, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult situation for these drivers that are inside that top 10 now, having to get the overtakes done. Ben hasn't had to overtake anybody in that race. He just had to make sure he's ahead of everybody, got the job done. How in this situation is going to be now trying to overtake the other 9 cars ahead of him to get another race win?
Yeah, it's a big ask as the mid-race warm-up comes to a close. Let's take a look at the grid here. So Jackson Austin and Aaron Gilbert starting from the front row ahead of Dane McDonald. This is a great opportunity for Danny P, though, coming out of 4th. Jamie Dyke will be looking for that as well out of 5th with Aidan Cale alongside him. Then Kenny Economos and David Kirby ahead of Ty Delaney and Ben Faulkner with all the work to do. Wilson and Powell rounding out the top 12 as we look to Reese Wakefield and Luke Newing further back ahead of Henry King and Nicholas Garriosh from Frog Leap Juiced Racing. Joshua Benno and Jeremy Washington back in 18th ahead of Aidan Williams and David Coleman. Then Robbie Bradbury and Josh Harris, Josh McLaughlin and Troy Maguire. All getting set to line up on the grid there. And then just a little further back through the field, Mitch Curry and Dylan Thomas further back with Orlando Black and Nathan Bowman. Billy J. Sinclair and Alex Court with Brad Cooper rounding out the 31 as we get ready to go racing once again here at Phillip Island. The feature race just about to get underway as all the drivers come to the grid. And while we're here, Aaron Gilbert, that Jinx Shifters livery looking absolutely stunning. Revs coming up though, we've got no time to stick around. They are underway. Green. Jackson Austin off the line cleanly. Aaron Gilbert as well. And here comes the field behind them as we make our way down to turn 1 for race number 2. Dan McDonald looking for a move early as he gets up the inside of Aaron Gilbert. See if he can make that stick. Pushes Gilbert wide.
Oh, there's going to be some argy-bargy for sure there, Jared, because I think these drivers realise it may be made or break on the first lap. I mean, considering overtaking being so difficult, a couple of drivers going to be side by side further up into the kink. You mentioned a very, very tricky corner here. Let's see if they can get a couple filed through at the moment. Jackson still leading this one from Aaron Gilbert, Damon and Daniel. But Ben Faulkner
up into 6th and 7th already.
Yes, exactly. Both of them keeping together. You can't separate them like Siamese twins on the raceway.
Danny P still maintaining 4th. Johnny Doug still in 5th. But Faulkner and Delaney right behind them, making the most of the early confusion and the early compression of the pack. It's giving them just enough time to squeeze them through, and they're not waiting around for anybody to get through Lukey Heights for the first time here in race number 2. 34
Daniel sending it. Daniel sent it.
Move there.
Up on the inside. Damon's dropped a couple of places. So did Jamie Dyke. So caught him a little bit napping on that corner. Damon McDonald now down to P5. Daniel up to P3.
Let's see if he's able to hold it in there though. Ben Faulkner. Let's take a look. Where is he sitting in the field? There he is. So let's have a look and see what turn 1 brings here, because Ty Delaney right behind him. These guys will both be looking to put a bit of space in between them. Can he make a move here through turn 1? Already starting to space out just a little.
Mitch Curry's gone off track as well too somewhere, my friend. And again, Mitch not having the best of days.
Here comes
keep eyes glued on this. Yep.
Shoves the nose in. Just the slightest wiggle there from McDonald.
Keep an eye on Ty. Sticks his nose in here as well too. Tries to seize the opportunity on getting one on McDonald's, dropping a couple of places in the reverse grid. That's the first time we've seen these two drivers, Ben and Ty, separated by a car, but for how long?
Here goes Delaney up the inside. He's pushing through hard, looking to make the move and stick with Faulkner. Big contact. That's Delaney around. Delaney's around. Contact there through Miller Corner, and that's put Delaney off the track as well as McDonald. Can he get it moving again? But this is going to cost him back to 28th right now as he gets back on track.
Ooh.
Just avoiding Nathan Bowman coming through.
Nathan Bowman's delivery quite interesting. All at the blank white. Yeah, it will be actually, because now he's got a lot of work to do to get back up. But he could probably think about alternative strategies at this point, which I'd probably be looking at doing, because, you know, early in this race, see if you can just fill it up as much as possible. I don't know. And then just go do your own thing. Go put those fast laps. We know he's quick. And now the only difference is he's got a whole racetrack of no cars to think about. Get his head down, get the job done.
Ben Faulkner now alongside David Kirby, just seeing a message from race control. Ben being instructed to redress for the pass in turn 4 on Aidan Cale. So that's where Aidan Cale's gotten back in front. He's given that position back as directed, and that puts him side by side with David Kirby into turn 1. Kirby just backing it out. It's early days, only lap 3 here, guys. Plenty of time. Just settle in, calm the nerves. I think right now Ben Faulkner probably breathing a huge sigh of relief. Ty Delaney probably absolutely fuming in the cockpit after that start. Not what he would have hoped for in pushing that move, but That's racing, isn't it, Biggles?
Well, you've got to get past, you've got to get your elbows out, especially at Phillip Island. And, you know, it will happen at that close door banging on the drivers. At one point, it's inevitable somebody may get turned. Unfortunately, they both did come together. It's a collision, it's racing. There's probably more to come with that later on as well, too. But, you know, it's one race. Maybe he's got a P2 up his sleeve, got some good points already early in the season here. He's got to fight your way back and see how you go.
Absolutely, and as we have a look at just the sector differences here, take a look at Faulkner up against Kale here. Just so quick through every sector. He's shutting down that gap ahead of him every sector that comes around. David Kirby's got a bit of pace on him as well. So Abe Kale's got some work to do if he wants to hold these guys off. Starts to get a bit of a run, but as he pushing it just a little hard into that last corner, you've got to be very, very careful going to end up out in the grass here. All important run down the main straight, but here comes Ben Faulkner up the inside. He's got the pace. Can he make it stick? It certainly looks like it. He's made it past before we even get to turn one.
Yeah,
Ben Faulkner showing how it's done. He's going to have to recover it almost off into the dirt there, but uses the ripple strip to get back in time for the southern loop. And just
on Aiden Kale too, that was putting up a massive fight, remember, for that podium position earlier too. So Aiden's going to be happy probably with that. He's not too concerned that Ben's got past him, and he's going to be able to tuck him behind there and just use that Faulkner power there to suck him along, drag him along there, and say, okay, mate, you've clearly seen us how to do 132s in qualifying. Let's see some quick laps in right now to see if we can stay with him.
A bit going on in the background there. We'll take a look back at Josh Benno maybe, or perhaps the entry of Josh McLaughlin a little further up. White and red FCR entry. Just having a bit of a moment in the kitty litter in the background. So something to keep an eye on. That Pertic livery of Josh Harris, as always, standing out in the crowd. Up and over Lukey Heights. Again, a really, really tough corner to negotiate at the best of times, much less when you're in a pack of this quality. Just the pressure that these guys are going to be feeling every time they come up and over that crest and through every corner. They've got to be absolutely on it.
Yeah, I feel like you're a Queen and David Bowie song, under pressure.
A little bit, mate.
Falling down on me. Falling down on you. And please welcome all, of course, tuning in here for the first feature race at the MC Motorsport. This is the V8 next 3 Gen cars that we're doing for the first time this season. An action-packed amount of racing that we're going to have too at MC Motorsport this season, Jared. Right?
Oh, 100%. The calendar looking phenomenal for these cars, as we see Jeremy Washington going just a little bit wide. That's going to be enough to let Aiden Williams through after Washington got the pass done. Let's see what he's got. Can he turn it around on the other side of Southern Loop, coming into Stony Corner now? And Washington will be looking for another move. He's going to go to the inside and stays wide for now. And the pack really just bunches up through here every time. Miller Corner, such a slow corner. The drive out of it is absolutely essential. Oh,
and Jamie Dykes off the track somewhere, going very, very slow. He's a little bit further dropping back. He's on the top 10. You'll probably see him very soon as the rest of these field will be catching him. Something's happened up the road, there. Certainly exciting. As I'd mentioned, there was also Reese Wakefield had managed to get an overtake done. He was battling it out there with the likes of Jamie Dyke from the Fishing Motorsport entry as well. So there's a lot going on in this mid-pack there, Jared.
Absolutely is, and we'll take a look up front again in just a moment, but right now, focusing down around the mid to lower part of the pack, there are plenty of battles going on. Check out Orlando Black right now, just going at it with Dylan Thomas from Fishing Motorsport. These guys pushing each other hard. Doesn't matter that they're back in, what, 24th, 23rd, 24th right now? The racing is just as intense, and that Fishing Motorsports entry, the mirror is absolutely full of Million Motorsports. I don't know about you, but Biggles, I reckon I smell a little bit of a team rivalry coming on here in the Teams Championship.
Oh, I hope so. Absolutely. Nothing like that. I mean, Formula One was practically wrapped up this year, wasn't it, with the Drivers' Championship? But we didn't know what was going to happen with the Constructors towards the end. So I'd like the same thing to occur here at the MC Motorsports, and I bet you it will be Fishing Motorsports versus, everything's all happening here at the moment. The ADHD, FCR Sim Sports team, Pacific Esports, the Vermilion Motorsports, Team Jinx. It's all happening here at the moment as the action's happening behind David Kirby, Aiden Kale, Kenny as well behind them. They're all familiar territory, familiar places because they were doing this in the previous heat race.
Yeah, they certainly were, and we saw Kirby get through just while we were checking out some of the action further back. He's made his move through on Kale, but Kale is immediately tucked in behind. Have a look at the amount of gravel on this corner. Just absolutely everywhere. These guys are going to
Did you let your kids
so
loose
careful.
again, mate? They're out there just kicking up all the gravel over there in the sound traffic.
They're just having some fun.
Tell you what, further up the road there, it's also having some fun. Maybe Daniel may be having some fun to get past Aaron Gilbert for that P2 position. And make sure you don't let old Action Jackson Alston get too far up the road. There you go, it's a bit of a tongue twister on that one. I'm going to call you Action Jackson from now on, Mr. Jackson Alston. I like that.
That'll do. That'll do. Danny P just putting the nose up the inside there, just reminding Aaron Gilbert he can't afford to let up the pace here because Danny P, as always, looking for a way through. Jackson Austin, just pretty comfortable right now, sitting out in front. I've got to wonder, Ben Faulkner, he's sitting a second off the back of Danny P here. I suspect a little bit of strategy starting to come into play now that he knows that Ty Delaney has fallen so far back. He's got a bit of room to breathe and perhaps think about conserving tyres a little. He doesn't need to be out in front right now. It's a 34-lap race after all. So
I think you would have loved to have him push him because, you know, it looks like to me Ben's one of those, you know, drivers that just love the adrenaline, love the momentum, love the thrill of, you know, having somebody looking in your mirrors, looking over your shoulder every 5 seconds, seeing what's happening. He probably would miss currently at the moment having Tyle be right up there with him, and probably even motivate him. You know what it's like when you play sports with A-grade players. You tend to play better yourself, and I think that's exactly the situation that's happening here. And look at this.
Saying that,
gaggle of cars, mate. Hornet's nest down here.
It's all going on, absolutely. But in saying that, even with Ben Faulkner not really looking like he's making much of a move, in the time it's taken from us starting that to now, he's pulled back another half second on these guys. His last lap was still almost a 34 flat, 34.1 on the last lap. And that
here we
lap
go,
just
Dan the man on Aaron into, you can see that.
Big pass.
Job done for now. If he can make it stick, don't go too much on those marbles, as he will carry the momentum through there. But look at Aaron. Look at Ben in the background. He sees the opportunity and says, all right, anything you can do, I can do better, Mr. Daniel. He can try at least. Is that a little bit of damage I'm seeing on the front end too of that number 2 machine piloted by Ben Faulkner? I think it is actually. There's a little bit.
Might be a touch. It's not
cosmetic.
Much. Let's see if we can get a better look. Yeah, he's definitely had, looks like just a little touch on that front left. Although hard to tell with the livery. It camouflages it nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, good idea. Smart on that one, my friend.
Yeah,
you would have had something nice and bright.
Front bar pushed
like
in just a touch. Just a touch. So that's going to be impacting. I take that back. Looking from that angle, it's actually been a pretty significant hit he's taken there. So that's going to be slowing him down a little as well. Maybe something that he can get fixed up.
I don't think he got the memo that he's been going slow at the moment because he's been one of the fastest cars on the track.
Certainly not. Aiden Kale still.
Here we go. He's setting his nose up the inside there. And I think Aaron can't really fight that much because he will be on the marbles and can't get the power speed down. So there it is. Ben up at a P3, 7 positions gained. Next on his hit list, Dan the man running in P2.
Danny P will be watching the mirrors. He knows what's coming here. It'll just be a question of whether there's enough damage to Faulkner's car to hold him off. So they make their way down Phillip Island straight once again. Picturesque, isn't it? Beautiful view, but you can't take long to just soak it all in because you're on the brakes for turn 1 not long after you crest that hill. As the drivers make their way around. Lap 9 of 34, Harry Dodds, welcome to the chat, my friend. Good to have you along. If you're interested in getting involved and seeing a bit more about the MC Motorsports League, the Discord links, of course, all down below in the video description. Always welcome to jump on by. The league itself closed with the amount of interest for this season, but I don't think season 2 will be too far away, all things considered. You see Ben Faulkner closing the gap very, very rapidly into Miller Corner there and getting the drive out again. He's right on the tail of Danny P, and he'll be looking to pass. So we take a view from on board Ben Faulkner's Vermilion Esports entry.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe some full on some of these races at the moment there, Harry, but just keep an eye peeled on that one. There may be reserve roles up there. There's a lot of motor racing courses happening on the MC Motorsport channel. So, and if you're in the Discord, you've applied for everything, my friend. We'll see. Just keep your eyes peeled if there's some vacancies for something. And get out there and start racing so we can commentate you. And hopefully Jared won't commentate curse you.
I try not to. Honestly, I do. But can't make any promises at the end of the day. The view from on board here, Ben Faulkner, just working that steering wheel, looking for the optimal grip, just correcting the oversteer. He's got the power down hard there. They're doing everything he can to keep this car straight. As he gets 260, almost 270 km/h. Just shy of 280 before on the brakes and into turn 1. Sarge Motorsports wants to see a safety car out. Look, anything's possible. We're only 10 laps.
Sarge, mate, get out there and streak across the racing track. And no, don't do that, actually. No track invasion, please, mate. And they'll cause a caution flag. Oh, Ben's coming a little twirly-whirly coming out of the corner too, mate, as he gets the power down. I saw him go off in the kitty litter a bit on the exit, so he's definitely throwing that number 2 machine around 2 for now. Look at the entrance, too, that Action Jackson took to that corner, going very defensive. Action, well, I think more Daniel needs to be going defensive at this point with a very quick Ben Faulkner on his tailpipe, lining him up. Where can overtake? Probably nothing around here, mate. Maybe sizing him up for the exit of the final turn. We've seen overtaking opportunities in turn 1.
There's not a lot of opportunities throughout these high speed sections. It's really just making sure you don't lose the draft and you set yourself up into the braking zones. And this is a tricky one. Usually you'd see, and as we see, Ben Faulkner says, don't worry about the kitty litter. I'm going to shut the nose in anyway.
Yes.
And alongside
That's the
Danny
second
P,
time we've seen that, hasn't it? Sorry to cut you off, Jared. That's when he gets the overtaking done. But this time around, Dan just said, my friend, I'm going to make my number 70 car as wide as possible.
Absolutely. I was just about to say, before Faulkner throws his nose down there, usually you'd see a fair few passing attempts out the back there of Lukey Heights, but with the amount of gravel on the inside, I don't know if he'd be game to. Apparently Ben Faulkner is game no matter. So we'll take a look a little further back. Dean Powell looking to make his move up on Conamos as well, so he's up 4 spots since the start of this race. Plenty going on Dean, right throughout the field. In fact, we'll try and give you a bit of a look here, guys, at just the movers and shakers throughout the pack. Jamie Dyke continues to drop further back from his starting position, but Ben Faulkner up 7 spots right now. There's quite a bit in it.
That's very spicy and dicey at the moment, mate. Kenny, Aiden, and Dean, that's where it's all at. Come on, Dean, mate. Just let his 2 teammates take each other out and scoot on by there for the Black Hawk Motorsport. I'm not biased at all, am I? The fact that he has Dean in his name?
Oh, no, not at all, mate, not at all. How's he feeling, though, right now? Vermilion Motorsports ×2 in front, Sideways Esports ×2 behind him.
He's all right. He's got me up in there. He's got 2 Deans.
He's got a bit
one
of
on the commentary box and one on the track.
The commentary box,
right,
yeah, absolutely. So he'll be fine. But, yeah, getting very, very bunched up there into Miller. And we'll have to keep an eye on that for the next lap. And Ben Faulkner continues to close in on Danny P. He'll be looking for another passing opportunity, I'm sure. Dean Powell, a little bit of a concern there with his connection. He's blinking in and out, and I don't think the SES entrance of Wilson and
Dean thing.
It's a Dean thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how happy they'll be with that.
Tile is fighting at the back here of Josh Harris. I know that, and then, so Thomas Wilson goes into pit road. We're expecting some of these pit stops soon as we get closer to the halfway. 2 of the drivers, actually, Kenny may be heading into. Tile, remember after the first
here goes Danny
went
P.
around.
Sorry, Danny P making the move on Jackson Austin. Austin out very, very wide. And that's Danny P through to P1.
Yeah, for how long too? Austin Action Jackson's going to fight this one back, but he knows track position is key here because of the difficulty of overtaking. And more importantly, he knows he needs a car ahead of Ben that's approaching behind him because that's one driver you don't want. Ben's going to be seizing the opportunity. Ben's done this multiple times as well too, isn't it? When somebody gets the overtake done, I think because the driver's fighting so much to defend or fight back, Ben sticks his nose in and takes it. But he's gone very wide into the kitty litter out there. Aiden Cole and Dean Powell have come together as well too. So action absolutely everywhere here on the feature race, first of the season here, MC.
Go back and have a look at that in just a moment as we wait for these guys to settle in. I want to stick with this and see if Faulkner's going to make the move through Lukey Heights. We know he loves to do it. We've seen it a few times already. What's he got up his sleeve here?
Oh, Jackson big slide out of Action Jackson, yes. He's sliding big time in the rear. I think Ben would know that one. Cuts
Look
up
at
at the
the
inside,
change.
sends it in, full lock to the right. Has to gingerly get on the power there. They're going to be side by side through this. Was absolutely fantastic racing. I think Ben may have just argy-bargy his way through there. But then again, you have to say Action Jackson also struggled into that corner. It looked like a fair play. Job P2
didn't
for
look
Ben.
like any issues in that, but we'll keep an eye on our friends in race control if they want to come back and take a look at that at any point. Let's go back and have a look at that incident with Aidan Cale and Dean Powell and see what's happened here. Aidan Cale ahead of Dean Powell's Mustang. Powell throwing it up the inside, just can't pull it up under brakes. Not a lot in it, but just enough. And then, some collateral damage there for, who's that? Jamie Dyke was in the Fishy Motorsports entry, and the other Antic entry alongside him, Reese Wakefield, copying it as well. So, not ideal, but could have been far worse. Danny P now has to hold off Ben Faulkner out in front. And we are back live. Lap 13 coming up reasonably quickly on the halfway point.
On Jamie Dyke, just looking around the outside. There's a switcheroo there. Can't get the power down because, unfortunately, there's a Mr. Pike Fishy Motorsports car right there. So we'll have to lift off there and fight another day. These drivers are all line of stern. Mitch Curry's gone off track again too, unfortunately, for the boss man, not having the best of days here at Phillip Island. But still
We're starting to see it now, though, aren't we? The tyres are starting to just give it up. They've gone through, 13 laps, so probably used something like, I don't know, 30-odd, 40% of their wear by this stage, if not more. They're going to be starting to really feel that lack of traction. You're seeing it on the exits of each of these corners. So we see Ben Faulkner closing that gap, hundredths by hundredths, thousandths by thousandths, as we come down the main straight. Faulkner's got the draft, and he's pulling him in, reeling him in, 2/10 and closing. He's not going to have enough to make a dive here.
Aaron Gilbert may be able to get enough driver on the outside. No, he won't, but he could switch a route here. Axon Jackson, from leading this race, has had to concede a couple of places. Maybe those tyres are starting to fall off the cliff for that 41 machine. David Kirby's in the mix there for the other Fishy Motorsports driver. A little bit further down the road there. We will start seeing pit stops from some of these drivers very soon. Will cost you a bit of time there. First person taking a pit stop, come back out. There was Tony Maguire, and he's in P20.
Jackson Austin really sliding around through those corners. You'd have to think he's got to consider tyres soon, because the car clearly not gripping the track like he's hoping. I don't think it's intentional. I think it's just getting everything he can out of it, and I don't know it's got much more left to give. So you'll have to be thinking about it, but you wouldn't want to be pitting just yet. You're not quite halfway through, because if you thought the tyres are bad now, coming into the pits now and having to go more than that distance again on the fresh set.
Oh, and I'll tell you what, Daniel's starting to slide a little bit. And I'll tell you what, when you slide a little bit, Ben's going to put his nose in. Right again, he's done it. Takes it tight to the outside aprons, allows enough space, has to lift off, had to back off.
He's let
and
Danny
now
through there.
Danny's going to come back through there. He realised that he couldn't quite make a stick. He's on the dirty marbles. But I'll tell you what, that's going to be a little bit of scared. It's a bit of a wake-up call for Daniel. Daniel's going to be like, all right, Ben's coming. And if I was Dan the man, I would fight tooth and nail, mate. I would not make it easy for Ben, because he won the first heat race doesn't mean he's going to win the series.
No, don't get handed anything in these race series. Now let's go back and have a look at that passing move. Danny P's gone, look, big dive from Faulkner. He's made contact. He knows he's pushed Danny P wide, and that's why he's redressed that spot so as not to cop a penalty from the stewards. I think that's fair play. That's well done.
But it's smart play, psychological play as well too. If you remember, like Ant Center and all used to do stuff like that as well too. You got to throw the mental challenge to the drivers. Yeah, look at that. He's giving him a little tap. He's going to have to lift. He's giving him a tap. Massive correction. Same spot, same place, same network. 1 lap later, they're at it again.
There is some real fire going on here. Bit of the red mist starting.
Oh, that's why Ben's got an Ayrton Senna helmet on. Now I realise why he's driving like the late great Ayrton
makes
Senna.
sense, doesn't it?
Now I get it. Yeah.
Danny P went so defensive there into Miller, and Ben Faulkner says, "Oh, if you're going to cut me off, I'm going to remind you that I'm sitting here." Again, Danny P's just looking to hold him off. But all of this back and forth between the two has brought Austin and Gilbert back.
It will bring everybody into play. Of course, there's fighting, absolutely. But I'm loving it. Look at the rear slide at it. They're both sliding. They're coming out of the penultimate turn on ice skates, mate. This thing is like, I don't know how difficult it is to drive right now, but trust me, it looks difficult. I'm pretty sure it's difficult. They're going to zoom on by, say, we're not going in for another pit stop just yet. We will have to at some point. We're just getting on close to halfway through this one. Fantastic racing here. And Dan the Man is not yielding.
Late on the brakes and makes the move through turn one. Danny P had nothing, absolutely nothing he could do about that. The tyres absolutely shot. And, of course, Austin and Gilbert right on the tail. Spot on. Harry Dodd's calling it out. David Kirby.
Yeah, you reckon? That's not a bad idea. If you get clear air, get out there, put some absolute banker laps. I remember Schumacher used to do that back in the day, you know. Get that pit stops out there, put flying laps after flying laps after flying laps. So since everybody else boxes is like on P1. Wow, how did that happen?
It's a big
well, it won't be P1,
Kirby.
but I tell you what, Kirby will certainly get himself in a nice position here. At least in the top 10, I'd imagine.
He's back in 21st now. But that's more indicative of just how long it takes to get these things through the pits. About 45 seconds is what you'd expect for a pit stop here. So, yeah, it's a long way to come back, particularly with how fast that front straight is here at Phillip Island. You're coming out of the pits, but cars are just absolutely ripping past you as we keep an eye on Danny P struggling on these tyres. Lap 16 of 34. He's got to be thinking about a pit stop soon.
You got to be calculating. Ty gets past. Ty's up at a P13. You got to remember, it's not fishy the fact that Ty's pretty very quick. Aaron Gilbert will go into pit stop there from P4. Tyle's been slicing and dicing through that one. He didn't get into pit road, remember, after having that early little contact moment. But don't count him out of a top 10 because, you know, dedicated quick drivers are the ones that never give up. Just like Winston Churchill, they go, Tyle, never give up, never surrender. And I'll tell you what, he doesn't look like he's going to be doing that anytime soon. So pit stops now are starting to come. We'll keep an eye. I'll try to keep an eye on that for you there, Jared, because I know you're very busy.
Here, David Kirby and Thomas Wilson. Look, I'm not going to say effective race leaders, but they are at the head of those who have made their first pit stop. Wilson making his on lap 11, Kirby on lap 14. So the tyre's much fresher on Kirby's car, and here he goes down the main straight. He's got the pace, and he'll go up the inside now. Is this going to cause issues here? A bit of bump and grind as they run into lap traffic.
Race is off the track. Racefield's off the track as well too. Somewhere around that situation you mentioned, up the road actually. Gilbert. It's up the road from that battle. A little bit further, sorry, I'm all over the place because there's a lot of action happening at the moment. I'm reading the chat too. We're talking about clown gags and stuff like that.
All sorts going on.
Jeremy Washington's okay. He's up at a P10 at the moment, the number 500 machine, 8 positions
up
gained.
8
He's
spots.
Going to get
Pushing hard.
I know Monty's got his eye on him, mate. If you're spotting him, let us know if any drama happens. We've got cameras back on that one. But keep an eye out. The battle for P8 and P9 as well, too. David Coleman on the back there.
This is Reese Wakefield just going very deep into Miller. Finds himself out in the marbles, and sure enough, off onto the grass. You see it all the time at that corner, and just drags more debris onto the exit for those behind him. So not what he would have had in mind, but it's a really, really tough corner as the tyres start to give out.
Ties in, and Aiden Williams are in. So Fishy Motorsports and FCR Sim Sports are in a pit road as scheduled pit stops to see how they come out and where they can get themselves in some clean air. Mitch Curry, after all those spins and moments that the boss man's had, as well as putting on a fantastic league in the off-season, doing a lot of work, he's up at a P13. So he's still hanging in there.
Can't argue. We'll see how it looks
I'll tell you what, not bad.
After pit stops, of course. The Frog League Juice Racing entry here, Nicholas Garriosh, just holding off Coleman from Fishy Motorsports. This is the battle for P8 right now. Excuse me, and just ahead, Reese Wakefield. You can see just hanging in there. These guys all must be getting very, very concerned about the state of their tyres. I think we're about to see a spate of pit stops. Danny P up in second right now. The gap to Ben Faulkner opening wider and wider with every lap. He's got to start thinking about fresh rubber.
We're starting to see some times as well too, sporadically sprat all over the place. We're going from 33, late 33s to 34s, 37 for some drivers to go off track. About average at the moment would be about the 34 club, so way down on the early 33s that you're getting when those tyres were good before freshies were working. We're now seeing Luke Newing coming in from P4 into pit road for his scheduled pit stop, and well-deserved pit stop, because he'll be saying, bring those 4 freshies to me, guys. Give me some traction so I can put the power down at the end of this race.
This will be interesting. Keep an eye on David Kirby up against Newing. So Kirby back in 16th, Newing in the pit right now. And here comes Kirby, just to give you an idea of where this lead is. So he's gotten himself ahead of Aaron Gilbert and getting out in front. A few pit stops going on, but it'll be really interesting to see where Kirby lines up against Newing. Newing's still in the pit lane, but he's on his way out. There he is. So Kirby flies past Luke Newing.
Yeah. Troy Maguire would be the lead driver, you'd have to say, for the 163 machine, currently running a P11. That's taken a pit stop. Then you go back to Kirby and Aaron. But did he start from the pit? No, he started from the pit road, so my apologies on that one. David Kirby is the net leader on pit stops, gentlemen, but he is currently in P14. Of course, there is a big gap of give or take, well, we're looking at about 40 seconds to Ben that's leading this race. So it all has to pan out and how quick you could be. Pit stops are 45 seconds, but you know what, in iRacing, you can never really kind of crunch those numbers and work it out properly, can you?
No, and keep in mind, with every lap that Faulkner gets out of these tyres as he slides it again, every extra lap that he can get out of these tyres means a little bit less fuel he's got to wait to put in as well at that pit stop. So it brings his pit stop time down every single time. Danny P into the pits now.
Yep. Somebody's asking out there in the chat, and I didn't get that one away from you, Harry. How's Robbie Bradbury doing? Now, keep an eye on where Robbie, I'm trying to find where Robbie is. Don't you see Robbie in the racing? Oh, there he is, Robbie, my apologies. Pacific Esports Racing, we saw him a little bit earlier. He's running a P9, he has a pit stop to do. And, well, he'll jump up to P7 now. He's scooped by Dan and Adrian in pit road, but, of course, those positions may be released. We'll see. But he's looking strong, actually. Keeping an eye on that little Ford. He hasn't been as loosey-goosey, maybe kinder on his tyres. We'll see that pans out later on the map. But Ben Faulkner is still leading this race by a chunk and change there from Axton Jackson, who's done a solid performance at the moment from selling on P1 in the reverse grid, holding off some big-time gladiators, and don't count him out for a podium position here on lap 20 or 34.
No, spot on as we see Aaron Gilbert all over the back of Danny P right now after that pit stop. So Danny P's found himself effectively in second behind Kirby. So that pit stop definitely benefiting David Kirby. We spoke about this a little earlier. It's called out, and a great call in the chat from you, Harry. It's absolutely paid off with Danny P battling so hard with Faulkner. It's given David Kirby just enough time and just enough space that he's come out of the pits ahead and currently effectively the race leader. Now the question will be, what can Ben Faulkner do with his pit stop? And just how close is that battle going to be between Kirby and Faulkner when it is said and done? However, the other end of that, as we see Jamie Dyke heading into the pits, David Kirby taking his tyres lap 14, Danny P behind him, Freshies on 19, so much cleaner and newer tyres. It's a big difference, 5 laps, isn't it, Biggles?
Ooh, yeah, you bet. You can see it actually clearly in the pictures. I wouldn't be surprised soon if David Kirby also is about 3 seconds to change away from David Coleman and the Fishy Motorsports racing team. But if David doesn't hit a pit road soon, the David and David show, that's right, not the law firm, but if he will be seeing him on the main straightaway, they'll be catching each other pretty quickly. And I'm sure if Team Waters at play, if I was the like of David Coleman, would be like, let David through, David Kirby, because he's on fresh tyres and you're not. Multi-21, Seb. Multi-21.
Here they come again. So Coleman making the move look almost easy. Orlando Black struggling with his very, very old tyres at this point. And yeah, just in the background you can see Kirby just circulating around. Up in front though, this is Ben Faulkner, and he is all on his own at the moment. Looking very lonely.
Luke Newing, back in the back there of Aaron Gilbert now. P12, he's just at the fastest lap, but there's somebody spinning the road. There's a huge accident covering the track. Aiden Williams, I think. Orlando Black may have been involved in that. There's a couple of cars off the track. Ooh, we don't want to get approached into safety cars. Somebody was talking about safety cars. Ben's going to take a pit stop.
Coleman
He made a He may have anticipated a potential safety car coming out here right now, jumping into pit road immediately before they close it. Action Jackson goes in because there was 2 or 3 cars involved in the big one here, Jared.
Yeah, look, David Coleman went around on his own by the look of things, and it did look like the car behind just followed him around. So that's Ben Faulkner in the pits right now. Let's keep an eye.
Oh,
Here
how
comes
did they
David
manage to
Kirby.
avoid him? Good job for staying in the middle of the track. I know it's frustrating as drivers. You just want to get on the loud pedal and spin it around and point it in the right direction. But you know that if you do that, you're probably going to spoil somebody else's party. And hats off, you don't do that here at the MC Motorsports. A lot of drivers going down pit road. Action Jackson, Ben went down there.
Robbie still in the pit box. He's having repairs.
Orlando Black. Go ahead.
35 seconds now in the pit box for Ben Faulkner. That is not just tyres and fuel. That is repairs. He's getting that.
They did get that dinged out. Right.
Oh, he's been in his box for 45 seconds now. He's still
so
there.
No caution from race control. They didn't. Everybody got past. It was only a couple of cars. Reese is in the lead, and tell you what out there for Monte Cristo, your man, Jeremy Washington, the man that was on fire last season, of course, the number 500. I'll tell you what, you want a driver that's hard to overtake. Jeremy Washington, he can drive. My friendly delivery as well, too, that Jeremy's got on that car, too, there for 500. But he's in P2. Troy, we suspect in P3, has to go down to pit road again. David Kirby would be your net leader at the moment in this race.
Danny P looking to take that away from him as soon as possible.
That's true.
5-lap fresher tyres, and he's been closing that gap up very steadily as we make our way around Phillip Island. Lap 22 now of 34, so just about 2/3 done. And
send the dummy and almost loses the rear end there, Daniel. Calm down, my friend. You got a long way to go. And even shorter time to get there if you go loosey-goosey in that one. But I told you what, keep an eye out for Luke behind him, mate. Luke has been putting in lap after lap after lap of serious pace here, and he is a serious contender.
Bradbury's around. Go back and see what's happened here. It's Miller again. Miller corner.
That's on you, Harry, mate.
Proving the undoing of so many drivers tonight. Just heavy on the brakes. Bit of contact there from Dean Power, it looks like. And thankfully, not too much damage done. Across the
side by side here, mate. You come back to the action. I'll tell you what, Luke is putting the pressure on big time here. He had to lift off there. Daniel putting the pressure on David Kirby. This could potentially be... they're door banging. There's some dooring going on there. We got beef between these drivers. I tell you that right now. Daniel comes down fishtailing. May lose that space. Let's position over to Luke, or have to yield it to Luke. He's just not going to want to do it. But also Aaron in the background there. I'll tell you what, it has happened. Fire up the barbecues, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. We have beef. There's flashing of those headlights.
Stack of spaces through that. He's just lost 2 positions through Miller just then. I think he's completely stuffed the entry, been thrown off by Danny P's defensive line, and found himself well on the outside. Gilbert and Austin making their way through, so they're getting in on this as well. Danny P with some new contenders in behind him. A little further back, let's take a look. This is Henry King and Ty Delaney. So King just latching onto the back of Delaney's entry, trying to get towed along. Delaney now up to 11th, so making his way back. He's made his pit stop. The big news for me, Ben Faulkner out of the pits. He's back in 23rd.
Action, you said that. Action Jackson's come right out in the middle of this hornet's nest, mate. He's about to be side by side with Aaron Gilbert, and he's just down the road there from David and Daniel. Look at this. This is like a place that you want to come out, mate, if you want a highlight reel, because that's exactly what's about to happen. Jeremy Washington's still out. It's to take his pit stop, doing everything he can in alternative strategy.
Danny Dyke on the way on the inside of Luke Ewing as well. The Fishies entries all over the place here tonight. They are in every battle.
Everywhere as Luke gets past Jamie Dyke as well. Luke's up into P5.
Jamie Dyke will have another crack at this, so let's keep an eye on this, because this is, of course, Miller Corner, turning out to be a real handful for these drivers. Newing playing it defensive. Jamie Dyke says, thank you very much.
Oh, yeah,
back through.
You got to door banging.
Big contact.
A little bit of beef. Yeah, the thing is, if you go dooring him now, I'd say there's beef. If there's just a little bit of door bang like that, that's just friendly old 101 racing. But when you double door, triple door, quadruple door, you're coming back in, you turn into each other. That's what I'm telling you, mate. You fire at the barbecue, is where cooking beef.
Mate, look, I've got to say, though, Phillip Island, the few passing opportunities you've got, that doesn't give you much to play with, as we see Mitch Curry going deep into Miller on the inside of Ben Faulkner. He's having a crack here and takes him. Ben Faulkner's forced wide. Faulkner's, of course, going to have the inside run into Siberia. But
Yeah, Mitch
Curry's
is like,
just
hey, I'm boss here,
having
mate.
a crack at it. Why not?
Ben's like, yeah, you might be boss, mate, but I'm a little bit quicker in the race car at this point. But I give it to Mitch Curry. He's done a solid job. Ben's just at the fastest lap too whilst he was doing all that. Jeremy Washington is finally into pit road. The man, the legend, the clown, apparently, for Monte Cristo. Oh, he was no clown last season, my friend. I mean, he was certainly quick. Hey, you could be quick and be a clown too. But Jeremy's
Absolutely.
David Kirby in the lead of this one from Dan the Man in P2. Axon Jackson, solid drive in the reverse top 10 grid, P3. And Luke, I'm putting this one. Don't get too far away from Luke Newing. He was super quick during all those laps. You don't have the camera pointed at him. Silent, but very, very quickly getting that job done. He's got to catch this pack too, but he's got Jamie Dyke all over his tailpipe.
Dyke's on the inside here. He's gotten the better entry. Can he make it stick? He's come on through, definitely leading on the other side of that. Gets the foot down and establishes himself right there. P4 going to Jamie Dyke. He's just got to hold on to it now while Newing fights to get another crack at him. And keep an eye out as we get towards Lukey Heights. Jamie Dyke getting fantastic drive out of the corner. Opens that gap right up. Newing's going to have to do some work under brakes if he wants to have another shot at him anytime soon.
I'll tell you what might come into play there. Jared. The fact that we have a little bit of a differences in tyres, as you mentioned, looking at these other little battles that are occurring as well too, certainly up the road. But David Kirby went down lap 14. Dan the Man lap 19. Axon Jackson 21. Jamie Dyke 20. And Luke Newing in lap 18. So freshest tyres of all of them, Axon Jackson.
Yeah, let's see if we can get a bit of a view of the pit strategy here. I don't know quite how good a view we've got. But there you go. Bit of a view of the stint lengths.
Yeah,
so,
and if it's punishing on tyres, that push comes to shove, of course, when you get down to the last couple of laps, that may be the difference of you setting it up the inside and the car actually sticking or not.
Yeah, it's a big ask though. Like Kirby's going to be pushing those tyres a long way if he's expecting to take them all the way to the end. And with Danny P right on his tail, he doesn't have just a whole lot of space to play with right now.
It's 5 lap difference, but look at Action Jackson, mate. He is the playmaker here. There it is. So Daniel's going to get the exit here, or at least give it a shot there on Daniel. So David Daniel, the double Ds, Kirby and Polton. Fantastic racing between these two guys, 307 and the 90, 41. Look out in the background there. And it's going to be 2 lengths in a horse race down there. You're not tuning into Sky Sports and the TAB betting, my friend. I'm not going to do a horse race on that one. But tell you what, it's shooting in. This is fun. This is exciting. That's what we wanted to see. It is a little bit, I have to say, it is a bit better than the heat race. Hopefully a bit better, sticking his nose up on the inside again. I think he took the trick away, didn't he? From our race 1 winner, Ben Falcon.
Jackson Austin just getting a bit loose there. Is Jamie Dyke going to capitalise in the background as well? Just couldn't quite get the drive, got into the marbles, and that's allowed Dyke to really get in behind. And we'll see if he puts a move into turn 1. He's been showing just a little taste of what might be available.
We got the top 10 separated by a couple of seconds, all the way down to P7. That's absolutely amazing. Then you got a bit of a gap down to Thomas Wilson in P8. That's how close it's going to be. You see them all almost in your pictures there. This is fantastic racing. These drivers all know this big one here. The feature race is up for grabs. Who wants to win it? You got David, you got Daniel, you got Jackson, you got Jamie. You can read it all up on your timing tower. All very capable, all very quick drivers to win this race.
And look out now. If you have a look at the back of some of these shots, you'll see none other than Ty Delaney just sneaking his way through there. There he is.
Oh, yeah. I even forgot Ty. And you can't count Ty out, mate.
No, absolutely not. Ben Faulkner, meanwhile, back in 26th right now. You've got to think that he's pretty well out of this after having to get that damage repaired. So from looking like doing it easily and maintaining a points lead over Ty Delaney after the first race, it's now going to be Delaney that's got it all to play for.
I think you're right,
we haven't even actually figured out the points here with these guys.
I don't know why he did that, mate. It seems to me like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it wasn't broke. He was fast. He was right up there. Everybody was overtaking, was door banging people. Wasn't a problem to me. I mean,
I
I'll
can
tell you what,
only
mate, if my
imagine-
car was that quick, I wouldn't go in there and fix that damage. Hopefully, we might find out a little bit later. Of course, tune in to the Discord and click all those buttons and get involved. And you'll find out the information with Driver Beef as Tyle's got to try to find his way past Thomas. But as you got the pictures up on the sharp end of the shed, as it mentioned, that look out for Jamie Dyke, mate. He is not fishing around at the moment. Hook, line, and sinker, trying to
Here
get
he
an
goes
overtake
up
done
the
here.
inside turn 1. Jackson Austin still hanging in there, but Jamie Dyke's got some fantastic moves. It's not going to be enough this time, but he'll be looking to
He's a
have
quick
another
driver
crack
too,
at it.
mate. He's getting
Oh,
on Luke. That
very
was
much so.
powering through there. Luke's tyres are a little bit, I mean, talking 2 laps is not the end of the world.
There's not a lot in
Axon
it.
Jackson
Not a lot
up
in
the
it.
road there as well. Axon Jackson's got the best boots in town, mate. He boxed
nice
back in
and
lap
fresh.
21, but so does Jamie Dyke, and there's contact.
And just like that, everything changes. Jackson Austin having such a great run and finds himself back into 7th in the blink of an eye. Go back and take a look at that, because I'll be honest, I was looking away just to check
Yeah,
on
I
some
was
of the
too, mate. I'm loving the
some of the
replay system that
timings.
we have here in the Simple Broadcasting Network.
So
'Cause, I mean,
what's happened?
blink and you miss it. He's
Oh,
gone
there
too
you
deep,
go.
hit the marbles.
He's locked it up
contact.
under brakes, but
Yeah.
he's hit Danny P as well. So that's taken Danny P back to 5th as a result.
To be surprised that, mate, nobody's turned and they're all pointing the right direction coming out of that corner, out of that instant is very, very
Don't know how.
impressive.
I don't know
Hats off
how.
to that. I know, mate. Yep. Most leagues that I watched, there would have been 3 cars turned. So good on you guys. Hats off to you. Tipping the hat to the gladiators here at the MC Motorsport.
Have a look up front, though. It's an all fishy story all of a sudden. Kirby and Dyke now 1-2. Now, I've just been doing some really quick, like back of the hand type maths. I don't even have an envelope.
You
to do
sent the
this.
kids down there and said, okay, got some homework for you. All right, come on,
Here's some
Jared.
homework. Figure this out. No, Jamie Dyke, not looking too bad for points, right? If we think about where these guys started, David Kirby finished up in, I think it was about 3rd. He started in, P8? So he finished 3rd in race 1. A win here would be big points. That'll probably put him out in front. Jamie Dyke finished in, was it 6th? I believe. So he would have started 5th. He's up 3 places right now. So both of these guys pulling in some big points for Fishy Motorsport here.
I'll tell you one thing that would benefit, but if Tyle in a few more laps can get himself cruising on up the rest of the pack there, he's going to be slicing and dicing in his little we're going to say there's an rivalry between him and Ben Falcon, who's lap down currently at the moment, but you know what's going to happen. Jeremy Washington, unfortunately, is going around, and Monte Crisco, I'd say you might have to look away on that one, because Mr. Washington has had a moment on track. And that's up to whether or not concerned. He's dropping back a little bit, but here you go, boss. Jared on camera is going to see if he can capture the action on that one.
See if we can find out what's happened there, because it does look like it might have been a bit of a moment with Aiden Williams, perhaps. We'll take a look. Jeremy Washington here.
We're doing it because we've got Washington fans out there. That's a simultaneous slide between them both? No.
I'm not sure what's happened. I haven't actually seen him go off track on my end, so I don't know where this has happened.
I think I'm showing some sort of information anyway. It might have just been a little bit of off-track excursion, but Jeremy Washington currently is running in P14, and he's behind Tony for the Fishing Motorsports 163. Just trying to keep Nicholas off his tailpipe on that one. David Kirby still in the lead, lap 30-34. We're getting into the show time here, and race time, feature race for the first
Kirby's
race of
got
the
to be
season
feeling
here.
it. His tyres are getting old. He's lap 14 he pitted for those fresh tyres compared to lap 20 for Jamie Dyke. So it's not going to be long, and Dyke's going to be looking to pass him here.
Yeah, 6 lap time difference, isn't it? That's
It's
got to
a big
be
difference.
a big, regardless of how, and then again, some drivers are also really good on their tyres. Some drivers are really punishing of them, and that's in the real world scenario as well too, you know. Some drivers always have throughout history of being good on tyres. Some drivers, I'm a driver that just drive the absolute pants off my tyres, mate. I don't want to return them. They have no warranty at the end of on a steering wheel. Let's see how it
No
pans
point.
out with these two.
Absolutely no point
Yeah,
having Rowan
and now you're bringing
O'Donnell.
Aiden in. Now you're bringing Luke. Everybody's in play now. You can see there on your timing tower board, top 5 separated by a couple of slices and dices of those TikTok
There's
seconds.
really not a lot in it at all as we take a look from the chopper. This is Luke Ewing, just a little further back, and you can see there's not a lot of distance between any of these guys as we take a look at the front forward. Aiden Cale just tacking onto the back. Kirby and Dyke are still just spacing out. I've got to wonder whether Jamie Dyke's planning on making a move sooner rather than later, or if he's just going to let this all hold up a little bit to the end. Look, I'm not anticipating any team orders. It's not how I see these.
I mean, do they know? That's the thing. We have spotters, you have teammates. Does he have somebody on the engineer for
These
Jamie
guys were
Dyke saying, hey,
hey,
mate, you know, your tyres are a little bit more cooked than mine. You know, you've over roasted your beef on the barbecue. Whoa,
Very
Aiden almost takes him,
there.
turns him. Eamon had the left. Look at this. Dan the Man and Luke now, because they had to back off. Constantina effect, my friend. You got action happening at the back of the field here as well, too. We're talking about the field in the top 6 drivers. We're what, 31 laps down, mate, here at Phillip Island, and we are all separated by milliseconds between these top guns. This is fantastic.
Nothing in that, really. Danny P looking to do everything he can to get back up and earn himself some points. At this stage, though, he's only one position down from where he started. So if he can hang in there, he's going to walk away with some nice points for round 1 as well.
I'll tell you what,
still plenty to play for.
Not to get too excited, but you know there was a silver racing here at the MC Motorsports going on at the same time with a stacked grid of drivers. Can you imagine? We're going to have to go up and catch up that action, of course, and broadcast it later on this week. Wow. I mean, you ain't got enough of... we ain't got enough. Challenge for the lead. Here we go.
Makes it look easy in the end.
Oh, yeah, but Dave can do the switcheroo under if he doesn't take off that chicane because it'll bounce your car around. Aiden, Cale lurking in the background there. Almost like, you know, a Jaws theme music coming up going, no, 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 no. Somebody makes a mistake right now. He'll pounce on both of them. But Jamie in the lead, taking the lead of this one. David Kirby in P2.
To walk away, doesn't he?
You don't want to take your eyes off this couple of laps there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, cats and dogs. Look at the sneak up the inside there from Aiden. Wow. Caught him napping. David went a little bit too deep. He's got loosey-goosey in the background. Now Luke will send it in.
Those tyres are letting go. He's reached the end of the life for those tyres, and he's
got to hold on there, Mr. Kirby. He's been doing a solid job. Exactly. Luke's going to pounce on him. David's going to... Dan the Man's going to try to pounce on him, but David's going to stick it, mate. Just keep it in there. Lift off a little bit in the corners there. Brake a little bit earlier. Just keep your number 307 machine there. Let them force them around the outside of you and see what you can do, but I don't think you can do enough. Luke's going to steal that P3 away. Daniel may steal that away soon, but we'll have to keep our eyes peeled too on the top two, mate.
Big contact. Newing got him very sideways and only saved by Kirby on the inside, but Newing and Danny P have come together, and that's the saving grace right there for Kirby. He's very lucky Newing didn't take him out just then. Let's go back and take a look, though, at the pass and see what's happened.
So to look at. Yeah, see,
this is the pass. He just couldn't get it stopped under brakes. Had to go wide, and that's allowed Cale through.
So Kirby just battling it up for a race win here. It's more of Dirk here. So Jamie Dyke, sorry, my apologies, is on Aiden Cale. I'll tell you what, Aiden Cale, he's been one that's just been in every single moment tonight. This man's had a car full of mirrors and a car ahead of him. It's just, the only thing he has not seen is a car not ahead of him. So I'm sure if he can dispose of the Fishy Motorsport, Mr. Dyke, he'll have this one. These two are the ones that are going to be going for it. You got 2 seconds down the road there to David Kirby. So with 1 lap to go, I don't think it's going to be enough. Aiden's going to pull everything out here.
Let's quickly go back and have a look at this, though, where Luke Newing has passed David Kirby, because I want you to keep an eye on Newing. All clean here, don't get me wrong, but watch Newing as he comes out the other side of Lukey Heights here. Watch him get sideways. Starts to put the power down. He's going sideways. Only gets saved by tapping.
He was
Kirby.
Lucky by the tag, the door banging there.
That's the only thing
he would have went around. Otherwise, I think you're absolutely right.
Kirby going sideways.
All right, it's up to Aiden Cole to get the job done. We're not almost on the penultimate lap right now. We will be. So it is down to the 151 versus the 80 machine. Fishy Motorsports versus Aiden Cole. So has he got what it takes to get the job done? Can Jamie hold off? We're talking about 1 lap difference too in the tyres, so I'd have to say really much nothing between those two. They got up a 3-second gap down to David Kirby. It's up to these two. Is Aiden going to send one late there and risk it for the biscuit to try to get a race win? If it all goes pole-shaped, that will be outside the top 10, considering how close they are. Or will he settle for a P2? Jamie's going to hold on as well to race his own race, rip those mirrors off his car, and steal the first feature race of the MC Motorsport for the season. Well, it all can go ifs, mate.
Oh! Sideways
Aiden goes too slow. I think he's just answering my... But keep an eye further back, of course, Dan, the man on Luke. They're also going for a tip for another Aiden, not Aiden, Jared.
It's all getting a bit too much tonight, isn't it? Round 1 has brought all the excitement, but so far so good. Look, Jamie Dyke looking pretty comfortable as we're having just a few connection issues on this end. I'm hoping we can make it to the end here because I'd hate to lose
Jared,
this.
my internet's died 3 times today during broadcast, so you could do it, mate.
We can do it. It's the
You're
last
right.
time.
It's
through
looking
Licky
good up
Heights.
here. I'm looking at it. I got the pictures from you. We're on YouTube.
Jamie Dyke's happy.
Jamie Dyke's around a couple more corners. Come on, Jamie. We're going to hold in the internet for you. Hold in that number 80 machine there for the Fishy Motorsports entry and get the feature race done over Aiden Cole. Cal, I think he's got it. And there you go.
Through the last corner. Jamie Dyke,
for the Dyke fans,
fantastic drive. Takes P1 in race number 2. Aiden Cale right behind it. David Kirby somehow making those tyres last 20 laps. And that's been enough to get him to the end ahead of Newing, Danny P, Gilbert behind, Jackson Austin, and Ty Delaney. A huge comeback to finish in 8th. What a fantastic drive from Ty Delaney.
I tell you he was going to, Winston Churchill-ish, never give up, never surrender, get himself a top 10? Quote me on that one. I did say it earlier.
Mate, you absolutely did. It was a huge, huge effort for him to come back after that early incident. There's Ty Delaney coming to celebrate with Jamie Dyke, I suspect. Let's see if there's anything to come there in terms of celebrations.
No, it'd be a little,
No, hang on. Is he getting pushed to the line? Is he out of fuel?
Oh,
or is this just them? No, they're just pulling up here.
they're playing with their food, mate, friend. Yeah, fishing around. It's Fishy Motorsports for a reason. He's giving him a little bit of push and a burnout. Why not? Jamie Dyke. If you're coming into this second race, right? I mean, Jamie Dyke, he got 4 positions, right? He was in the right place at the right time. He was in the top 10, especially at Phillip Island. You know how difficult it is to overtake around here. He had to be in the wars of it, in the mix. He had to get the pit stops at the right time, which he did. He boxed back a lap 20 on this feature race. He came out, there was traffic, there was cars everywhere, and Jamie Dyke said, no problems, mate. I'll get the job done. Had to fight off everybody. Congratulations. You got the first feature race of the season here in the Gen3 Supercars.
Jamie Dyke taking the win, half a second ahead of Aiden Cale in the end. David Kirby wrapping up P3 for Fishy Motorsports as well. And then, of course, Luke Newing, Danny P, Aaron Gilbert, all very close behind. Jackson Austin still up in the top 10. Really a fantastic drive from him, making the most of that reverse top 10 grid. Ty Delaney, a super comeback, only finishing 1 spot up from where he started. But when you consider the work he had to do to get back from about 28th, I think it was, if memory serves, that's a stellar drive to make it back through. Thomas Wilson as well in the top 10. Henry King rounding it out. Then Josh McLaughlin from FCR. Troy Maguire, another fishy entry there. Jeremy Washington, the Laughingstock Car Racing, making it in at 13th ahead of Nicholas Garriosh from Frog Leap. Joshua Benno from FCR in 15th ahead of Damon McDonald. Then Aidan Williams and Dean Powell from Blackhawk rounding out the top 18. We take a look a little further back through the field. And we've of course got Mitch Curry managing to steal a 19th spot out of all of that, along with Josh Harris from ADHD. Orlando Black from Vermilion finishing in 21st and 22nd for Robbie Bradbury. Unfortunate for him to have that incident earlier on. Dylan Thomas from Fishy, the last of the finishers on the lead lap, all the way back in 23rd. Then David Coleman, Reese Wakefield, Nathan Bowman, Kenny Economos, and Ben Faulkner, 9 laps down in 28th. That's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. He was having a fantastic race until then, but those repairs really costing him. Brad Cooper, Billy Joe Sinclair, and Alex Court all having issues through there as well. So we'll wait to see if we can get a word in with Jamie Dyke as we take a look back at him taking the checkered flag. But just a stellar drive. Really,
Jamie did. We'll hopefully hear from Jamie. We'll hopefully hear from Aiden. We'll hopefully hear from David Kirby as well.
Yeah,
I
some
think
huge drives.
maybe
all over
Dan the man
place.
wants to get us a bit of a chin wagon quickly as well too. We'll see. And I don't mind even. It's up to you too, boss man, as well. But if we did find out exactly what, well, maybe actually, you know what? Find out what happened in the Discord chat there. If you're not part of the Discord, please click on the information. Jared, we'll have that here in the description and so forth. If not, just ask and then we'll pull it up there for you. But Jared, yeah, let's see if we can. Well, they're already in here, mate. You dragged them in here. Let's get it done.
No, we're waiting on waiting on these guys to just get out of the car and see if they want to come have a chat to us.
Oh, you see kind to race drivers, mate. I'm like, nah, mate, you sort it out. That's what you do. You know, if you need to get to the bathroom, wait an extra 30 minutes after an interview. Yeah, okay. You think Formula One drivers get to run in the bathroom and come back when they're going to need interviews? No.
No, we'll allow it.
IndyCar drivers, NASCAR drivers, you got to do the interviews before you go to the bathroom breaks.
Look, we'll sit tight for a moment. Let's have a chat about the some of the results there as we take in some vision of those burnouts from Jamie Dyke. Some of the big movers in there. Ollie Stevens calling out Josh McLaughlin up 13 spots. A huge drive from him from FCR.
It was good, solid job. Yep.
In amongst it, Luke Newing actually finished up 10 spots from where he started this race, which is massive. So
I told you about him, mate, because he did the laps in the period where he came in earlier and he started putting bank laps later and he put bank laps
put them
in.
away.
Yep.
Absolutely. Troy Maguire from Fishy went up 11 as well to finish in P12. So some really big moves. The losers in amongst it, the ones who struggled the most, Damon McDonald finished down 13, from 3rd down to 16th in that run. Reese Wakefield down 12. Kenny Conomos from a promising start up in 7th, finished in 27th. And
there are no losers, only winners. The non-gainers is probably the word. That was contact. That was contact. There was off-track adventures or contact on the track was the reason why they were down so much.
Yeah, that'll do it. But hey, speaking of big winners out of tonight, Jamie Dyke joins us in the commentary booth. Jamie, good to have you here for the first time with MC Motorsport. Welcome to the booth, my friend.
Hey, how are we?
Mate, doing well. We watched...
fishy, mate, yeah. It smells the fish up here in the commentary box. What's going on?
Doesn't it just? A stellar drive tonight. How was it out on track for those last 10 laps particularly?
It was pretty good. Obviously, myself and Aiden took tyres later than the front running pack, and it was just a matter of carving through the pack and getting there. I made a couple mistakes and gave some people some bumps and readdressed those positions, but no. Oh, well, I almost lost it in the first half of the race. That wasn't fun.
Yeah, no, we saw it getting a little bit loose out there, to say the least, but recovered beautifully, and just a commanding drive in the end. David Kirby, we were watching for a while there. We thought he was going to be pushing a lot of it uphill, to say the least, to get those tyres to the end after pitting on lap 14, but he certainly took you to it as well along the way, didn't he?
Yeah, he did a mega job. I didn't know if I was going to catch him, but I knew I had at least 3 laps of tyres on him. I didn't realise it was, we'd say lap 14, so that was 6 laps.
Yeah, it was a big difference in the end, mate. You had much fresher tyres, and
yeah, mate, you went down to get the 4 tyres fitted, and come back and do like 1,000 laps around Australia and come back. That's how much tyre you had towards the end. You knew that.
I knew I had
you had a fan club out there too, Mr. Dyke. You had a few people out there saying you're going to win this one. Actually, they came out and said earlier on those pit stops. They said, "Hey, keep an eye out for Dyke. We think he's got the pit stop strategy, mate." They called it earlier than you did.
I'm pretty good with my fuel. I'll whoever said that, thank you. But yeah, I'm pretty good with the fuel.
Mate, it looked. Look, I'm not going to say easy in the end. You're certainly getting pushed along the way. Aiden Cale gave you plenty of grief in the last few laps, but how'd you find the racing overall for your first run around with MC Motorsport?
That was good. The track felt really slippery for whatever reason, but no, the racing was good. All the cars in there, everyone was nice and clean, and yeah, no, I loved every second of it.
Glad to hear it, mate. Well, look, good to have fantastic representation from Fishy Motorsport. Certainly a name I'm very familiar with from a range of other V8 races around the place. So nice to have a good bunch of you in here joining us for this season. What are you looking forward to most? We've got obviously a whole bunch of Australian tracks coming and a couple of international street courses. Anything in particular standing out as your favourite to look out for?
Not really. This car's kind of thrown a spanner in the works when it comes to my pace. I was really quick, or pretty quick in the Gen2 car, but getting my head around this car's a bit of a different story. So I guess what I'm looking forward to is learning how to drive this track at this car at every track that I used to be competitive at.
There you go. Everyone's starting from a pretty level playing field, given how new the car is.
Hang on, what do you mean? Sorry, I didn't cut you off. What do you mean used to? You just won the race. I don't think you used to be anything, mate. You are the new man to beat.
Yeah, a lot of things fell my way tonight. I don't know what happened.
No, mate. What fell your way is your sheer driving pace and strategy. Come on, you can talk it up, mate, Jamie. You got the job done, mate. You didn't do it by sitting on the sideline watching people. You did it by fighting people on track.
Yeah, well, I'm not completely happy with my drive, so there's always stuff to work on and positives and negatives to look at.
All right, something to watch for in the next couple of rounds. Jamie Dyke, thank you so much for dropping into the booth, and best of luck for round 2. Looking forward to seeing you back in the driver's seat next week to see if you can back it up again for round 2.
No worries, boys. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. Jamie Dyke, your winner there in race 2 tonight at Phillip Island. And Biggles, mate, we've set the bar pretty high for this season, haven't we? It's looking like it's going to be an absolute cracker.
Yeah, getting there, Jared, getting there. Yeah, of course. We haven't been Bathurst yet, mate, so yeah, that's the highest the bar you can get.
Absolutely. So, look, mate, I don't know about you, but I don't even know what to expect from the rest of this. Phillip Island's been a fantastic introduction to the Gen 3 supercars here with MC Motorsport, and we've got more of it coming tomorrow night. Not on the MC channel, not on the Simple channel, but actually over on Alliance Sim Racing as well. So, look, if you're keen on some more of this, do check it out. The link's on the Simple Racing Broadcasts YouTube homepage. You'll see we've got some more Gen 3 action coming from Brands Hatch tomorrow night. And then, of course, later in the week, at a time yet to be announced, you and I will be doing a bit of a delayed broadcast for the silver split from tonight. And if the gold split's anything to go by, that should deliver some intense racing as well, shouldn't it?
Oh, I bet you it's very exciting at the moment there, and I'm sure they will be discussing it here on the MC Motorsport Discord as well too. Of course, has been broadcasted and will be broadcasted, of course, the silver split, as you mentioned here, Jared, on the Simple Brakes and Racing Network, because hey, it's simple, it's easy, gets the job done. Here you do, my friend. Complicatedly, actually, brilliantly broadcasted, because you're a Queenslander, mate, so of course
we do what we can.
We are
at the end of the day.
Aussie Queensland, yeah. But I don't know. Can we, Jad, quick? I don't know. I know Dan, the man's waiting around somewhere as well. But if you have to wrap it up, we have to wrap it up.
We'll have to call it there, but I am looking forward to chatting to a few more drivers next time around. So do keep your eye out on the channel. We will, of course, once we decide when exactly Silver Split is happening, we'll make sure that is loaded and ready to go. So keep your eye on it. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Otherwise, from the commentary booth, because it's been a pleasure having you back for the start of this season, and looking forward to the rest, mate.
You too. Thank you very much, Jared. I'm looking forward to Motorsport Racing here. It's the start of many here. 2025.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
It's going to be a huge year, and a massive thank you, of course, to everyone watching at home. We hope you've enjoyed tonight's racing here, the first round of the MCV8 Series from MC Motorsport. Do tune in again next week, and of course throughout the week for even more racing. It's all Gen 3s for the start of 2025, and I can't wait to bring more of it to you. On behalf of everyone at Simple Racing Broadcast, it's been an absolute pleasure. Until next time, do stay safe, look after each other, and we will see you soon. Goodbye for now.